Welcome to this Great Detectives of Old Time Radio compilation. From Boise, Idaho, in more or less the present day, this is your host, Adam Graham. And in this video, we're going to actually bring you all of the non-Christmas themed remaining episodes of 2009. This will cover episodes from week 9 and week 10. We won't have the Yours Truly Johnny Dollar from week 10 because the program that I use to make these compilations can only do 4 hours, and that would put us over that. But we'll have 6 episodes. Now, as usual, any offers or information offered, various websites quoted, are not valid unless they're on our current website, as these programs were from 14 years ago. Podcasts are presented mostly as they were, with all of the rawness of my hosting ability, but we do cut back on opening themes and contact information in order to make things flow more quickly. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this compilation. Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, and this is your host, Adam Graham, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, with another episode of Box 13. But we're going to get into today's episode of Box 13 in just a moment. Before we do that, though, I do want to encourage you to make sure that when you travel with the most reasonable rates, and we partner with Priceline.com to bring you the best deals on travel, be it hotels, airline tickets, cruises. Now is a great time to make some vacation plans for the next year, and you can use Priceline to help support the program, and use Priceline to name your own price as well as search for various hotels and airlines. Go to travel.greatdetectives.net. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's episode, Book of Poems.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
To Box 13, care of the Star Times.
Carl! Carl, what are you doing?
Nothing. I ain't doing nothing.
It's just a book, Holiday. Somebody sent a book to Box 13. Why?
And now, Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Susie, come here a minute, will you?
You call me Mr. Holliday?
How did you guess?
I heard you.
All right. Now that we've cleared that up, how about this book?
That one?
This one.
It came in the mail for Box 13.
You sure?
Sure, I'm sure, Mr. Holliday. The wrapping paper's right in the wastebasket there. I'll get it and show you. Here.
Address printed. Block letters. Shaky hand. Susie, did any letter come with this?
Just the book.
Ex Libris. Robert and Chase. All right, Susie, we've got a problem. Somebody sends me a book from the library of Robert and Chase. Why?
Maybe it's a bestseller.
Yeah, in its day it was. Still is. The Poems of Sir Walter Scott.
Do you like poetry, Mr. Holliday?
Love it, Susie. Just love it. Listen. If thou wouldst view fair Melrose aright, go visit it by the pale moonlight. The gay beams of lightsome day gild but to flout the ruins gray. Pretty, huh?
What's it mean, Mr. Holliday?
Susie, you're asking the jackpot question. The book's broken to fall open at this poem.
Why?
We're in a rut. But there's one way to get out of it. If anyone calls for me, I'll be in the morgue. Start time.
Sure. Robert N. Chase. We've got plenty about him, Holliday.
Well, let me have it.
You ought to remember him.
Vaguely, I do. All right, Mac, what do we got?
Headlines. Lots of them.
Headlines, huh? What's he been doing?
Same thing he's been doing for the past 10 years.
He's in a rut, too.
6 foot deep.
Dead?
Here. You read all about it, Dan.
Socialites dead in tragic blaze. Oh, sure, I remember now. But 10 years ago, I was cutting my reporter's teeth on a police beat.
Yeah, that's right. A cop wouldn't get a juicy story like this to cover.
Son near death. Daughter at school escapes tragedy. Last night, fire swept the Robert N. Chase mansion. Blaze, unnoticed until too late, spread rapidly. Injured son not expected to live.
He did, though.
I see. Mildred Chase, 18, was attending a college function when the flames took the lives of her parents and swept rapidly through the palatial country estate, Fair Melrose. They were... Fair Melrose?
Yeah, that was the name of the estate.
Fair Melrose. Mac, the Chase girl, got anything on her?
What paper didn't have?
What do you mean?
You know, too much dough, spoiled kid, wrong company. She ran smack into the gossip stuff almost every week.
Know where she is now?
Well, she dropped back after the fire. It kind of cooled her off.
She's been a good girl ever since, is that it?
Well, that's it. I tell you what, Dan, drop upstairs to see Moore in society. She can give you the dope.
All right. Thanks, Mac. Say, you must come and visit my morgue sometime.
I like this one. I only read about characters. I don't have to bump into them.
But mine move around, Mac, and sometimes too fast.
Oui, monsieur.
Free French are engaged.
You wish to see someone, monsieur?
Yes, Miss Chase. Miss Mildred Chase.
You have an appointment?
Is that an offer or a business question?
Monsieur, if you will tell me...
Paulette, what is it?
There is someone here, mademoiselle.
I don't wish to be disturbed.
I'm sorry, monsieur. But Mademoiselle Chase, she is not home.
Oh, I see. Then you've got a talking piano.
Oh, please, monsieur. I cannot let you in. You are mademoiselle.
Yes, I did. But if you will go in and tell Mademoiselle that Sir Walter Scott is waiting to see her, I'm sure she'll listen. What do you say?
Where?
Vive la France.
All right. You wait here. But I cannot promise.
Yes? What is it? What do you want?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Chase. I have to see you.
Well, I don't know you. I've never seen you before.
Well, lots of people haven't. But my name's Dan Holliday.
The name means nothing to me.
It means everything to my mother.
What do you want?
I'm sorry, Miss Chase, bursting in like this. But I've come to see you about Fair Melrose.
Who are you?
Oh, I told you. Dan Holliday. Occupation, fiction writer.
And are you writing now, Mr. Holliday?
Maybe. Oh, is this yours?
Mine? That book?
Here, take it.
Where did you get this?
You don't know.
No. Where did you get it?
But you do recognize it.
Yes. It was part of my father's collection. I asked you, how did you get it?
Through the mail. It was addressed to Box 13, care of the Star-Times. Or doesn't that mean anything?
No. Nothing at all.
You should read the classified ads, Miss Chase. Box 13. Adventure wanted, will go anywhere, do anything.
Thank you for bringing the book back to me, Mr. Holliday.
You don't have any idea why the book was sent to me?
I don't know any more about it than you do.
Maybe you don't.
That's right.
Colette will show you out.
Was there anything suspicious about the fire that destroyed Fair Melrose?
Mr. Holliday, I don't know what you have in mind, but that was a cruel thing to say. A hateful thing. You're not proud of it, are you?
I'm nothing one way or the other, Miss Chase. But that book was sent to me. It was broken to fall open at the poems about Fair Melrose. I'd just like to know why.
I know nothing about it. All I know is that fire took my mother and father.
It's very sad, Miss Chase.
And my poor brother was left a hopeless invalid, completely paralyzed, unable to speak, to move.
Where's your brother now?
At Fair Melrose. The place he always loved.
But I thought it was destroyed by fire 10 years ago.
Yes. But one wing remains standing.
Your brother is there alone?
Yes. That's where he would want to be. And I arranged for someone to care for him.
Oh, I see.
And now, Mr. Holliday, I'd like to forget all this.
Well, I'm sorry to have bothered you, Miss Chase. I was merely curious about that book.
I know nothing about it. All I want to do is to forget. To forget.
What you want this hour of the night?
I'm looking for Fair Melrose.
Eh? What for?
Will you tell me how I can get there? I'm lost.
Stay lost, then.
Just a minute, please.
Get your foot out of the door. Get!
Don't be afraid. I'm not going to harm you. I just want to know the way to Fair Melrose.
What for?
I've got business there.
You're lying. Nobody's got no business there. Nobody.
All right, I'm nobody. Is your house on the ground?
It should be. Been here for 30 years.
Oh. Nice little cottage you've got here.
What you want to go up there for?
To look at it.
What for?
Huh. Nice waltz we're having.
Young fella, I asked you a question, and you ain't answered.
All right. I want to find out about the fire.
Well, ain't nothing nobody needs to find out about it. 'Twas a visitation of the Lord. 'Twas a judgment on the sin that was going on. Heaven rained fire that night and wiped out the last of Babylon.
I'm not sure I got all that.
Oh, the wages of sin is death. Now you know.
Wait a minute. Were you here that night?
Me and Carl.
Carl?
My husband. He was down here and seen the fire eaten up like the vengeance of the angels. We seen it, young fella. 'Twas a judgment for the years of sin. We didn't have to do no more caretaking after that night. Providence took care for us.
You and Carl, caretakers, is that it?
That's right. Only one wing to take care of now. Only one wing, and him.
Oh, the brother.
Yes, him that can't move or talk or hear. That's where they brung him, and that's where he stayed. Now, you get. I talked enough.
I wonder. How do I get up there?
You're still going up, huh?
More than ever now. Which way?
Straight up the canyon, turn left. It's top of the hill.
Thanks.
Well, maybe you should have picked a lighter night. Yes, one with a moon.
Maybe she's right, Holiday. This is definitely no night for a picnic. And who said it's going to be a picnic? Hello? Anybody here? Hello? And the same to you with feathers on. Hello? Oh. Light a match, Holiday. Don't be so stupid. Is anyone here? Mr. Chase? Oh, Mr. Chase. Holy mackerel.
Who are you? Answer me.
You are listening to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. And now, back to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Nice baritone voice you got there, Holliday.
Kling. Inspector Kling. Where am I?
Hospital.
What for?
For your head. There's a little dent in it, about 2 inches deep.
Oh, I remember. Where is he?
He? Who?
The body.
Oh, the body. What body?
Wait a minute. How did you get in? Who found me? Who told you all about this?
The old girl, caretaker's wife. She found you.
Oh. Kling, I saw a body in Fair Melrose.
Holiday, I don't know what merry-go-round you're on, but keep up this way and you'll get the brass ring through your nose.
How do I get out of this place?
Walk out.
Thanks.
What are you going to do now?
Why?
I want to know where to pick up the body.
Keep in touch, Kling.
What have you got in mind?
A date. A date with a beautiful young lady. Slightly hysterical and more than a little mysterious. But interesting.
What do you want here again, Mr. Holliday?
More to the point, what do you want?
Will you please leave?
Every time I come here, I get invited to leave.
I don't know what you're doing, Mr. Holliday, but it's none of your business. You ought to...
I went to Fair Melrose last night.
What for?
I wanted to see it. And your brother.
You mustn't see him.
Why not? What did he do, Miss Chase?
Please leave him alone.
All right. Did you go to Melrose last night?
No. I haven't been there for 10 years.
You weren't there the night of the fire either, were you?
No, I wasn't.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Now, mind if I ask you one more question?
If you'll go, I'll answer it.
It's a deal. What are you afraid of?
Nothing.
That's your answer?
Yes. I'd almost forgotten that horrible night until you came here. For 10 years I've lived away from it, keeping it away from me. Now you've brought it all back. Don't you have any pity?
Lots of it, Miss Chase. For a lot of people. Particularly you.
What do you want to see him for?
I've got to. I want to talk with him.
He can't talk. He can't hear.
He's in the only wing left by the fire?
Well, that he is. You still want to go up to see him?
Yes, I do.
Oh, the chases. Devil's brood, all of them. Devil's brood. The young'un with her temper, screaming at her mother and father. And him that's upstairs now, always fighting with his sister. The fire was a visitation and a judgment of Providence. There he is.
Oh, no.
That's him.
You stay here. Mr. Chase. Mr. Chase.
Can't hear you, can't hear you, can't.
Shut up. Mr. Chase, I'm Dan Holliday. Box 13. Box 13, do you understand?
Nodding his head. That's all he can do.
Mr. Chase, you wanted to see me. You sent me that book. You had Carl send it to me. Is that right? Nod your head if that's right. Good. Now, why?
He can hear.
You can hear me a little, can't you, Mr. Chase? Good. Why did you send me that book? Why did you want me to come here? He wants me to look around, Bertha. At what? At what?
Ain't nothing in here. Ain't nothing.
Look, Mr. Chase. I'll walk around the room. I'll watch you. When you want me to stop, nod your head. Understand? Good. Now watch me. Here? This trophy case. Is this it? What about it? What do you want me to see in... this? Good. Bertha, come here.
I ain't coming in.
I said come here, come on. Take a good look at this trophy case, Bertha. A good look.
I don't see nothing.
There's a plaque missing from its place. There's heavy dust around behind all those cups and trophies, but there's a clean spot here where a plaque stood. No dust, Bertha. No dust. Someone took a plaque from here not more than a few days ago. Did you?
I ain't touched nothing. Never touched nothing.
Mr. Chase. That plaque, whose was it? Yours? No. Your father's? Mother's? Mildred's. It was hers. But someone took it. Mr. Chase, try to understand. Try to answer. Please, you've got to.
He can't.
Mr. Chase, try hard. Try hard to hear me
Let
again.
him alone. He can't do no more.
Stay with him, Bertha. Don't leave him for a minute, do you hear? Oh, hello there.
Hello, Holiday.
Inspector, I'm in a hurry.
No, it looks like it. But you can spare a poor cop a couple of minutes to explain something, can't you?
What?
That body. We found it. In a ravine about a mile down the road.
All right, you found the body. Now I'm in a hurry. I gotta go.
Not so fast, Holiday. There are a couple of questions I'd like to ask you.
Later, Kling, later. You know where to reach me.
Holiday! Come back, Holiday! I say come back here!
Ride me care of box 13.
You saw my brother, Mr. Holliday?
Yes, I saw him. Oh, please keep playing.
I don't know why I let you in here.
I do.
Can't you leave me alone?
Please. The piano. I like to hear it.
What did you find out?
So you don't know why anyone would have taken that plaque from the trophy case?
No!
Your brother managed to tell me it was yours.
Where was it?
In the lower right-hand corner of the trophy case.
Lower right-hand corner. Lower.
That mean anything?
Well, it was a plaque I won for dramatics at Merrifield Academy.
I don't get it. What value does it have?
It isn't worth anything except...
Except what?
The plaque was presented to me at a dinner at Merrifield.
So, go on.
The dinner was the night of the fire at Melrose.
Then the plaque would prove you were at Merrifield the night of the fire.
Yes.
But somebody wants people to think you were at Fair Melrose. Were you?
No. How many times do I have to say that?
That's enough. Who hates you, Miss Chase?
My brother.
Your brother?
They all hated me. My mother, my father, my brother. Sometimes I think I hated them. Watching me, picking my friends, cutting me off from the friends I picked. I couldn't stand it
I see. All right, Miss Chase. We'll forget it for now. But can I come back this evening?
Why?
I said before I wanted to help you. That still goes. Miss Chase, it still goes.
Please sit down, Mr. Holliday.
Thanks, Miss Chase.
Do you have anything to tell me?
A few things, yes. But first, is there anything you want to tell me?
Tell you? Why, no.
You sure?
Positive. What could I tell you?
A story.
I don't know what you mean.
All right, I'll explain.
Must you play the piano?
No, but I'd like to. Miss Chase, let me tell you a story.
What about?
Well, I don't know whether it's exact or not. You see, I have to guess a lot. Fill in details myself. But this story's about a girl, an 18-year-old girl. That is, she was 18 10 years ago.
And what's that got to do with me?
Oh? You might be the girl, Miss Chase. Wild, with a temper. Bad temper. She had a lot of fights with her parents. Mostly about the friends she had. The way she ran around.
What are you trying to say?
That one night this girl set fire to her home in a fit of temper. After a fight with her parents. Maybe she didn't mean to do what she did. But the fire destroyed her home almost completely. It meant the death of her parents, and it made her brother a
You're making this up. You're guessing.
I said I'd have to guess.
I was at Merrifield the night of the fire.
For a while. I checked. Found out you left early enough to get to Melrose. And you brought a plaque with you. The one you'd won for dramatics.
Well, I brought it to Melrose later. The next day or the next. I don't remember.
No, that's no good, Miss Chase. It's too hard to believe that anyone would walk into a ruined home and put a plaque in a trophy case. I say you took it to Melrose, then had the fight with your mother and father.
You're lying.
I don't think so.
I took it there after the fire.
And why is it missing? Want me to look around your apartment for it, Miss Chase? Or send for the police to look for it?
No.
Why not, if you haven't got it? Why are you afraid to let me look for it? So I am right. Now let's get on with the story. For 10 years you held the secret. There's nothing to connect you with the fire at Melrose except that plaque. For years that fire's on your mind. Day after day you have to live with the secret, wondering if there's anything that will connect you with that night. But there's nothing. There's nothing. Then you remember that plaque. It will prove that you were at Melrose. Because the date engraved on it is the same as the date of the fire.
No. I tell you it's not true.
So there's only one thing to do. Get that plaque out of Melrose. But you didn't count on one thing. Your brother. Day after day he saw that trophy case. Day after day it was the same. Never changing. Like the four walls he had to stare at. But suddenly it's different. There's something missing. He racks his brains and he remembers. He remembers the plaque that was there. When he was able to read, he must have read about the fire. How you escaped the tragedy by being at school that night. How lucky everyone said you were. He read how you were presented with a plaque for dramatics. And his tortured mind puts two and two together. And he arrives at the conclusion that you were at Melrose. Home. The night of the fire. Well, Miss Chase, did you like that story?
There's nothing you can prove.
Maybe not. But how about Carl's murder? You killed him. Because you thought Carl was me last night.
No. What are you doing?
Calling the police. It's for them now. I think they'll prove you killed Carl. They're good at that sort of thing, Miss Chase. Very good.
No, please. What do you want? Money? I'll give you money. Anything, only don't call them.
Why not?
Please.
Hello, Inspector Clinton.
They hated me, all of them.
Okay,
I
hold
hated
on.
them and you. I hate you.
Look out.
Oh, no.
Hello, Kling. Holiday. Come to the Sunview Apartments now. I just rang down the curtain on a 10-year dramatic act.
Gee, it must have been awful thrilling, Mr. Holliday.
Yeah, sure, Susie. About as thrilling as throwing dirt in a guy's face.
Oh. Well, here's some more mail for Box 13.
Later, Susie, later.
But here's something maybe you ought to look into.
What?
If you subscribe to this book club, you get a free set of Sir Walter Scott's poems.
Oh, fine. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is directed by Russell Hughes. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager, with an original story by Frank Hart Tausig. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. This is a Mayfair production.
Well, welcome back. You know, when he was sitting there reading Sir Walter Scott, I was just blown away. Incredible talent in Alan Ladd, and Box 13 really just gave him the ability to show that off. Plus, the story, the way it was written, it was just a very big story. I think in terms of the depths and the levels to it, really, I am just so impressed, so happy with this particular entry in Box 13. So, nicely done. So, from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you another exciting episode of Pat Novak for Hire. Well, once again, it's an episode in Christmas week, and unfortunately, we're giving you not a Christmas episode. And there's pretty good reason why there wasn't a Christmas episode of the Pat Novak 1949 run. The show ran from February until June, and as such, Christmas episode wouldn't really work in here. Now, the 1946 series did have an episode that aired on December 22nd. So that may have been a Christmas episode. But every episode other than the one we aired from November 24th of 1946 was totally lost from that series. It's kind of funny to imagine what Pat Novak Christmas would look like. I've given some thought to what a typical Pat Novak Christmas would look like. Pat Novak is called. Somebody comes into his office and hires him to meet a jolly fellow in a red suit. And he's got some really bad feeling about this, but he's offered a lot of money. Goes down there and runs into Santa Claus, and Novak smarts off to him once time too many, and Santa cold cocks him, leaves him lying flat on the ground, knocked out totally. Then he wakes up, and what's apparently the dead body of Santa is lying next to him, and Hellman is there to charge him with the crime, and he has to clear his name. Kind of a typical Pat Novak Christmas. However, what we have to imagine in imagining what this episode might be like would be that the writer was Richard Breen. Now, Breen actually wrote the Dragnet Christmas episode, The Big Little Jesus. And the reason he wrote this, Webb brought him on to make the film, but Breen made it clear that he thought that Webb's existing Dragnet Christmas, the 22 rifle for Christmas, in which a young boy opens a Christmas present early to find a rifle inside with bullets, and he accidentally shoots one of his friends. But this was just not quite appropriate for the joyous season of Christmas. Breen, a very devout Catholic. So, if he had actually gotten to the point of writing the Pat Novak Christmas story, it wouldn't be like what I imagined. It would be something probably totally different from every Pat Novak we have heard heretofore. With a very low body count, or this might be revolutionary for Pat Novak, no body count. What would that be like? Well, I'll leave you with that thought there, and we'll get into today's episode in just a moment. But I do want to let you know about something I think will be helpful to you too in enjoying the works of great detectives and great movies of years gone by, rather than paying $15 or $20 for that great new film or great old film. Why not try Netflix, where you can, for a reasonable price of $8.99 a month, have unlimited DVDs with a great online streaming commercial-free library of shows, including Dragnet, Adam 12, and Emergency. Folks, I've used Netflix, and so do a growing number of Americans. In these hard economic times, people need a reliable and inexpensive source of entertainment. So I encourage you to check out Netflix. That's netflix.greatdetectives.net, netflix.greatdetectives.net, or go to greatdetectives.net and click on the Netflix banner. All right, but without any further ado, we're going to get into today's non-Christmas episode, and a special thanks to the Digital Deli for helping us. His definitive Pat Novak log helped us get this all in order. This is not usually listed as the 9th episode of the 49 season, but he actually's got newspapers to back this up. So we'll go with it. Shirt mix-up at the laundry here on The Great Detectives of Old Time Radio.
Pat Novak for hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's easy to rent yourself out and you make a few bucks, but sooner or later you get burned. It doesn't make any difference whether you're a man or a mouse, because down on the waterfront in San Francisco they build the traps both ways. Oh, everything looks easy, but sometimes they fool you, like putting shatterproof glass in a fire alarm box. And you gotta watch out every minute. Because down here, if you reach out to help a panhandler, the guy'll take your arm and hand you back the dime. I rent boats and deal any place. I'll give you a good trade-in on a second-hand soul. Works out all right. Sometimes you're on top of the heap, if you like the kind of heaps they got down here. But you got to get your laughs in a hurry, because you find out right away you're not going to make any more headway than a hummingbird in a wind tunnel. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. Must have been about 3 o'clock. The sun was out down at the far end of the bay. It put a head on the clouds down there and put the rest of the sky in a good mood. Over across the bay, it was a warm, easy yellow that made you think of a pound cake full of eggs. It was too nice a day to work inside, so I closed shop and started down to a pool hall on Market Street. I never got there, because on the way I stopped by the laundry to pick up a couple of shirts. It started right there, when the clerk walked over to me. He was full of fizz and the sort of guy who gets a bottle of hand lotion for his birthday.
Well, Mr. Novak, is it?
I don't know, is it?
Yes. My, we have a nice day, haven't we?
Yeah, I want some laundry.
Not any better than yesterday, though. Not a bit better than yesterday.
What do you do? Give them all a rating? How about the laundry, huh?
Yes. Let's have the ticket.
All right.
$4.28. That should be right down here.
It's just a couple of shirts.
28. Yes, here it is. That'll be $1.84, please.
Well, it sounds like a fair price, but I'll take my own.
Oh?
This isn't mine. It's too big.
Are you sure?
Look, I had a couple of white shirts. Now, you better look again.
Well, the tickets match, you see, $4.28. You must be wrong, Mr. Novak.
Now, look, fella, shirts don't swell. They shrink. The package is too big.
Too big? Oh, well, we better open it. Yes. Well, see, I can wrap them again easily. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's not my shade of pink.
Oh. I guess it's not yours.
Thanks.
Here's some men's clothing, too. How about these shirts?
If I were a jockey, I'd take them. I want my own.
Well, yes, of course you'd do it. Oh, goodness, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, you got a problem. How about these shirts, though?
Oh, we've mixed up the tickets, and someone has your package.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe we can check on the collar markings. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes, now, let me check in the book. Here we are. This laundry belongs to Earl Hayes.
Yeah, where's he live?
Are you going up there?
I want my shirts back.
Yes. He lives at 321 Dorset Place.
Yeah, give me that bundle.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Novak, and please apologize to Mr. Hayes. I'm so angry at myself, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, be careful you don't stop a hole in the floor. See you later. When I left, he was wringing his hands and shifting from one foot to another like a small kid in a department store. On the way up to Dorset Place, I looked at the bundle. There were a couple of women's blouses and 4 loud-colored shirts. 2 of them looked like a Navajo blanket somebody'd sewed buttons on. I tried to wrap up the bundle, and about 10 minutes later, I got to 321 Dorset Place. It was up on Telegraph Hill, and it was an old place somebody'd remodeled. It was supposed to be modernistic, but it reminded you of a chromium-plated tool shed. Apartment 2A was on the second landing. I went up there and knocked. Earl Hayes didn't answer the door, but you couldn't quarrel with what you got. She was in her 30s and pushing 40 hard enough to bruise it. But she looked good standing there in the doorway, long and lean enough to make a greyhound turn in his card. She was wearing green lounging pajamas, and you've seen bananas in looser skins. You could see the bay behind her through the window, and she stood there brushing back enough red hair to sell to a mattress factory. And as she pushed the door back, she started to smile. Her lips were a pale red color and moist enough to put a desert on its feet, and you could tell she thought she used them to talk when you got tired of everything else. Standing there in front of her, you got the same feeling you would if somebody pressed the treble and bass key of an organ at the same time.
Hello. What are you selling?
Shirts. Is your husband home?
Should I have one?
I don't know. It depends on the climate.
Come on in anyway.
All right.
Who are you?
My name's Novak. I'm looking for a guy named Earl Hayes.
You better sit down.
It won't take me that long. He's got my shirts.
Mr. Novak, you don't look like the kind who'd lose a shirt.
I don't want jokes, lady. There was a mix-up down at the laundry. I got Hayes' stuff, and he walked off with mine.
That is stuff in the bundle?
Yes, it is. Here.
All right, put it on the table here. We'll see. I don't think you're smart, Mr. Novak.
Huh?
Where's the other shirt?
You got them all right there.
There's one missing.
All right, see the laundry. All I want's a trade.
There must have been another shirt in this bundle.
Maybe it was too dirty. The boy couldn't clean it that fast. Now, look, friend, if you want to argue, go ride a streetcar. I came up for 2 white shirts. Now, where are they?
I suppose Earl Hayes has them.
And where's he?
I'll send you to him, but I'm afraid you won't like him.
Then I'll be lonely. Just tell me where he is.
2 floors up. That'll give you time to work over that story.
Yeah.
Because he'll know you're lying. He'll want to know about that shirt.
What makes it that important?
The fact that it's missing. I'll find him upstairs. I hope it works into a friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. He'll know you're lying, and you'll get tossed around like a green salad.
Is he tougher than you?
No, he's just not as versatile. Good luck, darling.
When she said good luck, you knew she was just being polite and didn't mean it any more than the hangman when he tells you to watch your step. When I left, she was over by the window, leaning back against the table, as shy as a runaway boxcar. And you got the idea she'd be fun to know if you had a lot of money and an oxygen tent. Well, I rolled up the bundle, and I started for the 4th floor. I knocked on the door, and when it opened, I knew I had high bid for trouble. I could see into the room, and there were 3 or 4 gonoffs sitting inside. They had a dull, anxious look, as if they were trying to find another worm to pull apart. They were the sort of guys who might have been born, but you wouldn't want to bet on it. The one in the door was a big guy with bushy eyebrows that met near his nose, and the way they ran across his face, you got the idea he got tired of the old ones and grafted on a vine instead. His face wasn't much better. It looked more like a relief map than a face. It was pockmarked and the color of moldy bread, and you knew if a woman kissed him, she'd get blood poisoning.
Hello, Novak.
You Earl Hayes?
Enough to suit you. Come in.
You're good at guessing names.
So a little bird told me.
Yeah, I saw her. She's got nice feathers.
Where's the shirt?
Here's the bundle. Take your pick.
I don't like any of these, Novak.
That's all I got.
Where's the shirt, Novak?
Just wear a collar, mister. You don't need a shirt. Yeah, I won't need a memory for you, fella.
Suit yourself. Tell me about those shirts. Hello, well, come on in. We got your boy.
Who is he?
You made a deal. You know his name.
I never saw him before, Max.
He looks different now. He came up with some of your shirts.
That's true. I went by the laundry. Said a guy named Novak picked up the shirts.
Except one of them's missing.
Couldn't be missing. They're all in one bundle.
Ask him then, but do it nice. He's touchy.
He doesn't have to ask. Now, look, mister, if you're Earl Hayes, I want my shirts.
Give us the other one. We'll make a trade.
You got the best deal you're going to make, Hayes. Now, I want those shirts.
Get yourself a loom, then. All right, Joe, get his on.
Let go.
Wait a minute, Max. Sit down, Hayes, or we'll take your ticket away. That's it. Now get his other arm. Over there. Why don't you keep your eye on Hayes? All right, Novak. It's you or Hayes. Make up your mind.
I got it made up about you.
You're gonna tire first, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know. Try Hayes. He looks healthy.
Hold him up.
He's slipping.
You need handles? Hold him up. You're running out of chances, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know.
Hold him up.
Why?
If you can't find the reason, don't. All right, Hayes. How's your temper?
I slid down to the floor so fast I almost went into the varnish, and I spent the next couple of hours checking on the termites. It was getting dark when I woke up, and right away the room was full of company. The host was Earl Hayes, and he was lying on the floor as dead as a cracked bell. He was over by the desk, lying on his back and grabbing at the rug like a Hoover vacuum. The hair was wet against his head, and the perspiration on his forehead started to break up and run down like tears, so you got the idea he cried out of his hairline instead of his eyes. He didn't seem pained or put out. He was smiling a little as if he realized he had a better deal. Over by the door, Hellman was talking to a couple of coppers. He sent them downstairs and walked over to me.
You woke the neighbors, Novak.
I don't snore that loud, Hellman.
You made the noise with Hayes?
Yeah. How'd I get my face this way?
You look better to me, Novak. How long you been here?
A couple hours.
That fits in. The coroner's already been here. He says Hayes was beat to death an hour ago with that poker out of the fireplace.
You better check on the prints.
I already sent it down. You slept too long.
Oh, Inspector. We came by for the death.
He's right there. Tell the morgue to keep him out till I get down.
Come on, Joe. That's it. Sure is a little guy.
He'll bury easy. Tell him I'll check in at 8.
Sure will, Inspector.
All right, Novak, tell me all about it.
I came up here for a shirt.
That's not hard to get. What about Hayes? How'd the beef go?
It went both ways with a guy named Max. You better talk to him.
I like you better.
Oh, you're not bright, Hellman. I've been out of the game for 2 hours.
Look, big shot, don't push me around. You got a story. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. You could have taken Hayes and run into trouble yourself.
That's the hard way, Hellman. I don't like your whip. Get another boy.
You'll do, Novak, and you'll do it all downtown. Yeah, Hellman talking. What do you mean you can't send him up yet? Who's in charge down there? Give me the guy in charge. Huh? Well, 2 guys just came up here. You must have sent them. They were here. You must have sent them. Yeah. Well, you can send them for me.
Don't tell me, Hellman.
Well, it couldn't happen.
No, it couldn't happen to anybody but you, Hellman. It's going to look real good, too, when they find out you let 2 strangers walk in and steal a body.
I don't understand it.
It's simple, Hellman. You better go in and rob that bed right now. Because when they're through kicking you around down at headquarters, you're going to need a sling. And with a figure like yours, it'll take a good-sized bed sheet. When Hellman hung up the phone, he turned the color of early summer squash. He stood over by the window, running his hand through his hair. He left the window and stood in the center of the room for a minute. His coat was open, and his stomach was piled up on his belt in nice, even layers. It reminded you of a rolled-up garden hose. And the way his pants fit him when he walked, you got the idea somebody sewed an anvil in the lining. After a while, he came over and started to talk to me. He kept pulling his ear, and in the dim light there, it looked like the cross-section of an eggplant.
I'm still going to hold you, Novak.
You'd look better with a hot potato, Hellman.
I'm going to hold you for 12 hours. In the meantime, that body will show up.
He didn't look that active to me. Wake up, Hellman. You've been backed into a corner. You better get a body first.
Look, Novak, I know the guy was dead. I'm not going to sit on my hands.
It's the most fun you'll ever have.
I'm going to check those prints, and I'm going to find out why you were up here.
I came to see Hayes. The laundry pulled a switch, and I came up for shirts. Check with the guy at the laundry.
Yeah.
And on the way downstairs, stop at 2A.
Why?
There's a souped-up redhead down there. You can ask her a question.
You can do that with any woman.
You can ask her who Max is. I went there to find Earl Hayes. She answered and sent me here.
There's only one thing wrong with that story.
Huh?
There's no redhead in 2A. I checked all the apartments. 2A's been empty for 3 months. The people are out of town. I think you dreamed her.
I don't dream that good in the afternoon. Look, Hellman, I'm walking out of this place, and all you can do is hear the echo.
I want to see you go, Novak. Maybe you'll do something wrong, and I'll track you down.
You couldn't track down a live bear in a telephone booth.
I'll make a try on you, mister, and when I'm through, there'll be enough to put you right in that gas chamber.
They can save money and do the same thing.
Huh?
They can lock me up in the same closet with you. When I left, Hellman was wandering around like smoke in a drafty room. I picked up Earl Hayes' shirts and ducked by the laundry, but the clerk was gone and the place was closed tighter than the lid on a city scandal. Well, I tried to think back, but nothing made sense. In the first place, what made that shirt so important? And why did the laundry clerk have the wrong address for Earl Hayes? And the main hooker was that body disappearing. Why? If Max killed him, they were in the clear. Why take a gamble like that just for laughs? I knew I had to get some answers pretty soon because Hellman wasn't an easy guy. He was a tough, hard cop with a heart big enough to hide behind a piece of birdseed. Well, I had a couple of places to go, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he used to be a smart one, except he didn't like the San Francisco fog and worked out one of his own. I finally found him in the hunt room at the Bellevue Hotel. The crowd was at one end, and he was down at the other. I found out why.
Make it one for my baby and one more for the road.
Now, wait a minute, Jocko.
Ah, Patsy, I'm singing a little sentimental ballad.
All right, Jocko, now you've had enough.
Patsy, I'm as sober as the next man. I've been drinking since 8 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm as sober as the next man.
Now, stop it, will you?
Patsy, you know I hate whiskey. But do you realize that 85% of the human body is liquid?
Yeah.
Now, is there any sane reason why all that should be water? Of course not. It isn't fair. That's why we have communists.
Jocko, I'm in trouble.
Of course you are. Knowing you, Patsy, is like walking hand in hand with a moral pygmy.
All right.
It's true, Patsy. You have no moral sense. All you have is a small bundle of regrets, something which you drag out periodically as proof of your decency.
Will you listen?
But you're not even decent enough to regret the things you've done. From some of your conversations about the only things you regret are the things you haven't done. The only reason you haven't caused more trouble is that you're not fleet-footed enough.
All right.
You're hopeless, Patsy. You're like some overripe planet, disemboweled and thrown from the skies. You don't know where you're going, and you can't remember where you've been. Your only joy is motion, and your only sensation are heat and cold.
You all through, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble?
Hellman wants me for a dead guy.
Where is he?
He was up on Telegraph Hill, but he's gone now.
He didn't die long, did he?
Somebody took the body away.
That's a funny thing to collect.
Oh, none of the story lays right. The guy's name was Earl Hayes. There was a laundry mix-up, and I went up there to trade.
Yes?
Now, look, I want you to hop down and find out everything you can about Earl Hayes. Find out who his friends are. Find out where he's from. And see if there's a guy named Max anywhere, will you?
Where are you going?
I gotta find a girl.
I felt that way myself earlier tonight.
Will you hurry, Jocko? We don't have time to run your love life.
Yes. Well, time is a minor drawback anyway. Good night, lover.
It was nearly 11 when I walked out of the bar, and the way things were going, I couldn't beat a vagrancy rap with a pocket full of annuities. I had to find that girl someplace, but it wasn't going to be easy. You might as well try to French fry a kettle of bones. I went back up to that apartment to see if she left a pointer anywhere. Hellman had a copper out in front, but he was sitting in somebody's new Nash reading a comic book. I went all through the apartment, and on the way out, I spotted the matches in the wastebasket. The folder had been used up, and on the outside it said Bonton Club, Duval Street, Key West, Florida. Well, that was the first break I got. Most people use their matches fast, so if she was using Key West matches, it must have meant something. I got onto a phone booth and started calling up the hotels. Finally, a hotel up on Taylor said they had a Miss Rhoda Warren on the register from Key West, Florida. For $5 a bellhop will tell you anything, so he said she was a redhead. I still didn't know, and when I went up there, she wasn't in. Well, I had to get back to my place for Jocko's call, and when I walked in, I got sorry about that $5.
Hello, Mr. Novak. You keep bad hours.
So do you, and your name's Rhoda Warren.
You like the name?
Yeah.
Go ahead and use it. It's a phony.
How about Max?
I don't even know him.
When you called him today, it was a wrong number.
Oh, please, Mr. Novak. You're not big enough for menace.
No?
No, you're like everybody else on the waterfront. You got some muscles, a few stage whispers, and 30 cents in your pocket. So don't try to make a sale.
Except you'd like to buy that shirt.
Yeah, if you want to sell it.
What makes it worth $1,000?
Your imagination. 500 will buy it.
You're bad on guesses. 500 and Max will do it.
Look, I don't have to deal with you, darling. You're a pauper on paper and in your pocket. So I can just sit tight while you sell or go broke.
Where's Max?
Sell him out. If I were in a hole, I'm not. You are.
All right.
Let go of my arm.
I need some help, lady.
I don't know whether you're making love or trouble. Either way, let go of my arm.
Have you figured out yet?
Please, you're hurting my arm.
Where's Max? Come on, I'll twist you until the skin comes loose. Where is he?
Please don't.
All right.
Like your friend, anyway.
Yeah, Novak talking. Yeah, I've been out all evening. Whereabouts? Yeah, well, he can't use it anymore. Where are you, the Compton? Yeah, thanks.
The laundry clerk?
Yeah, he found that shirt.
Tell him not to lose his own. And wish him good luck.
Will he need it?
Well, maybe not. But he ought to take it while it's cheap.
I knew it wouldn't do any good to press her for Max now. If she was going to tip her mitts, she'd do it on her own. I left my place and grabbed a cab for the piers. I got out near Market and walked over to the laundry. The back window opened up like a hunk of sky after a bad rain. I found the shirt lying out on the table. It looked like the rest of Earl Hayes' shirts, except for one thing. The collar was full of writing, a few letters and a lot of numbers. I took them down, left the shirt, and headed for my place. I got one of those shirts from that bundle and copied in some of the same numbers. Then I picked up a cab for Rhoda Warren's hotel. For another fin, the bellhop went blind, and I got into her room about 12:30. Her room was empty, but her bags were packed on the bed. I took a 60-40 chance and planted the shirt in the bottom of one of the bags. I told the bellhop to tip me off when she came in, and I started back to my place to wait for Jocko's call. I did about as well as a bottle of scotch in a Louisville bar. A squad car picked me up at the corner and said Hellman had a call out for me. About 20 minutes later, we pulled up to Pier 19. Hellman was waiting there, moving around like a pea in a boiling stew.
Hello, Novak. Walk me down the pier.
Find a crutch. What's on your mind, Hellman?
Walk me down the pier.
All right, but I won't take your arm.
We found the body.
How, radar?
Almost. The Coast Guard boat spotted him floating in the bay. They radioed in. We're hauling him up now.
Yeah. We're all busy. I found a shirt, too.
Well, we may not need it. Those fingerprints worked out just right.
Well, if they're mine, it's too Pat, Hellman. You're too smart a cop to buy that kind of plant.
I'm a smart enough cop to hold you, now that we got Earl Hayes. Here we are.
Yeah.
You got him down there?
Yeah, we're passing him up. Grab a hold there.
Here, I'll get him.
All right, Paul.
Well, here he comes. There.
Well, that water sure changed him, Hellman.
There's a mistake. He read his identification. They said it was Earl Hayes.
Another plant, Hellman. He's the laundry clerk.
What was he doing out in the bay?
Maybe that's the way they do the laundry now. I'm going home, Hellman. You better stand on his chest.
Huh?
That way they can't steal him without taking you, too. Well, that 60-40 was beginning to pay off. Somebody was gathering up the loose ends, and it was going to be easier now because things were getting tight. But you can say that for a lot of wedding rings. So I bummed a ride, and I got to my place about a half hour later. I had some trouble there because the cop on duty wanted to take me down to Pier 19 again. He looked wistful, so I told him about a place down the street where he might catch a peeping Tom, and I finally got rid of him long enough to get up to the room. As I walked in the door, the phone was ringing. Yeah.
Hello, Patsy. This is Jocko.
What'd you find out?
Earl Hayes was popular. Anybody could have killed him.
For instance?
There's a lot on him in the Chronicle morgue. He's wanted for smuggling.
Yeah? What else?
He had a girlfriend. Her picture's here.
What'd she look like?
Oh, I haven't had enough experience.
It's the same one, I guess. What else?
And Earl Hayes once served a prison term with a man named Max Stoffer.
That's our boy. What do you got on him?
He lives here now, and he runs a business out on Van Ness Avenue.
What kind of business?
Oh, it's going to sound funny. He runs a funeral parlor.
Well, what does that prove?
It doesn't prove a thing. Just because you're a perfume salesman, you don't have to smell pretty.
When Jocko hung up, everything began to slip into place. I could see now why everybody wanted that shirt, and the reason why Earl Hayes disappeared was 10 feet tall. I called Hellman. He said he knew all about Max Stoffer, and we had a squad car on the way out. I met him at the corner of Geary and Taylor, and we rode out to Van Ness. Max Stoffer's funeral parlor was over near Pine. When we pulled up, the lights were out except for a lamp in the front room. Hellman walked in the front door without knocking, and we turned in where the light was. It was a big night for stiffs, and there were 3 or 4 caskets along the wall. In the center, over near the fireplace, there was a casket on wheels. The plate on the outside said a man named Peter Dawson had the lease. Hellman was about to start upstairs when a door in the back opened.
Hello, Novak. What are you doing here? Is the man with you dead?
Not too dead to talk to you, Stoffer. He's Inspector Hellman from Homicide. The bag looks heavy.
Is he talking to you or me, Max?
Where's she going?
I'm putting her on a train, Novak. Do you care?
It's up to Hellman. He wants you for killing Earl Hayes.
I thought he disappeared.
I'll add on the laundry clerk, too.
After I visit the train.
You put her on that train, she'll get off at the next station, Stoffer.
Huh?
She gave you a bad story. That shirt you got's a phony.
Wait a minute.
Save yourself some time, mister. Check her bag.
Oh, he's crazy, Max.
Make the odds, fella.
Let me see that bag.
Take a look. He's trying to stampede you, Max.
Give it here.
No, underneath there. The other side.
There's no shirt in here. What are you trying...
I don't know how it got there, Max. He must have put it there honest. I don't know how it got there. Something crazy's happened.
You don't sound sure.
Please, Max. Please, Max, stay away. I gave you the right shirt. Max, leave me alone.
Take a copper. Take her for the laundry guy. I'll read about you, lady.
Max, you're crazy. You're crazy to tell him.
I'll tell him all about it. I'll tell you every word, copper.
All right, don't forget yourself, big shot. Don't forget to tell him what you did with Earl Hayes.
There's nobody.
Oh, you silly fool. You silly fool. Don't you know why they're here?
Shut up.
You'll open them all. You better tell him now. He's in there, Hellman. He's in there with Tater Dawson.
You had a chance, baby.
Leave me alone, Max. Leave me alone or I'll break you up. Can't win them all, Max.
Put away that gun.
Leave me.
Hey, get away from her.
You don't need the gun anymore.
No. Pick it up, Copper.
Well, you had a big night, lady.
Yeah. What happened, Novak? You put that shirt in there and you lied to him.
Yeah.
You lied to him and he thought I did. He thought I lied to him.
What's the difference? As long as you killed him, you still get a prize. The next morning was easy for Hellman. He shook the girl for the story on those shirts. The markings on the collar were bill of lading numbers on stuff going to the islands. Everybody was being watched, so they had to handle it that way. Earl Hayes used to leave the shirts in that laundry, and each time somebody along the line marked one of the shirts. Hayes took the shirts to Max, and he got the information to the right people in the islands. Out there, they had a line on what to hijack. Most of the stuff was gold, and it was a good game for everybody, until that laundry clerk made a goofy mistake. He got the bundles mixed, and he left one shirt out. When Hayes picked up the wrong bundle, the girl and Max thought a double cross was underway. After Max worked me over and killed Hayes, he went down to the laundry shop, and he couldn't find the shirt. He could only think of one thing. Hayes had the shirt on. So he got him out of that apartment. Once he had him out, he figured the easy thing to do was to make him disappear for good. So he put him in a casket with another guy on his way to the boneyard. In the meantime, the clerk found the shirt and called me. The girl overheard the conversation and figured the laundry clerk had the shirt with him. She got in a beef and killed him. She went down to that laundry after me and picked up the shirt. Well, from there on, the cards fell the wrong way. Well, Hellman asked only one question. That laundry clerk was an innocent guy. Wasn't it too bad he got knocked off? Oh, I don't know. When you think of how many buttons you lose in a year, it doesn't seem so bad.
Pat Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Welcome back. You know, sometimes you got to have some moderation in your action. Because Pat Novak was getting as worked out about not having his shirts as he does about evidence that could mean the difference between continuing to breathe and going to the chair. Just the way he was so vociferously demanding his shirts. What are they? Made of gold? I mean, I understand wanting your shirts back, but I don't know. It's just kind of a little too vociferous, perhaps, for the circumstance. But maybe some people are like that. This episode, by the way, when you go to the show notes over at greatdetectives.net, I think we're going to have about 3 or 4 different quote segments. And Usually Novak does one-liners, but I thought the little back and forth about how Hellman could save the taxpayers on the gas chamber, that was just that was almost a brief little comedy routine in there. This is your host, Adam Graham, starting off another week with Box 13. You got any comments on the show? Feel free to email me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Please check out our survey, survey.greatdetectives.net. Encourage you to get those results in it as soon as possible. And please cast your vote at podcastalley.greatdetectives.net. We're going to go ahead and get into today's program in just a second. I do want to let you know briefly that we strongly encourage our listeners to try out One-on-One, the world's greatest web host, now with 9 million customers. How do you get 9 million customers? Well, it's by providing great service, reliable connection at a great and reasonable price. And you can check it out. Discover the difference with One-on-One with unlimited bandwidth. So no need to worry that you're getting against your upper limit. Just try One-on-One at our hosting.greatdetectives.net. Try it out. You can get services for small, medium, large businesses as well as for your home personal internet pages. And also they have got great deals on domains. So check out One-on-One, the world's #1 web host. But we're going to get into today's episode of Box 13. This one takes a look inside the world of magic. Very exciting, and this reminds me of another show we didn't end up doing. We'll talk about when we get back. But let's go ahead and get into today's episode. The Great Torino, which should not be confused with the movie recently, The Grand Torino. All right, now let's go ahead and take a listen, and then we'll come back.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of Star Times. I know my life is in danger. I think you can help me. I'm desperate and don't dare go to the police. Please, if you want to help, call at the Tivoli Theater box office for the ticket left there. Our handbill will tell you more.
Our handbill will tell you more. Yeah, that's the way it started. The note from the girl, Maria, the theater ticket, and then murder.
And now, back to Box 13.
It was Thursday when I received a letter from Maria through Box 13. Some of the letters I get are from cranks. Some from people who are just curious about a reporter-turned-fiction writer who advertises Adventure Wanted, will go any place, do anything. But with this one, it was just like Susie said.
Gee, Mr. Holliday, it doesn't look like one of those crank letters or somebody that's just curious, thinks you're crazy or something.
How can you tell, Susie?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's just female ignition.
There's a dictionary over there, Susie. Look up ignition.
Don't you know what it means, Mr. Holliday? It's when a woman...
Skip it, Susie, skip it.
Oh, okay.
I'm supposed to pick up a ticket for tonight's show at the Tivoli. Take a look at this handbill. Torino. The Great Torino. Like his look, Susie?
Well, I don't know.
That's what I thought. Okay, Susie, close up shop for the day.
You're going to follow it up, huh?
That's the general idea, yes. I want to see what Maria has on her mind. and why she's afraid. This was it. I picked up the ticket at the Tivoli. A big poster told me this was a charity affair where the act's doing a 2-night stand. Tickets, $10 a throw. I circled around the lobby, looked at the acts advertised, singers, dancers, a dog act, and then there it was. A big life-size cutout of the Great Torino, complete with mustache and goatee. Nice-looking guy, maybe too smooth-looking, but it was what he was doing that made me take a better look. He held a rifle to his shoulder and was aiming it across the lobby at another cutout. And this one? This one was a girl. Pretty? Mm-hmm. Big eyes, maybe a little scared-looking, and looking straight across at the Great Torino, and right into the barrel of that rifle pointed at her head. Well, if this was Maria, she had a right to have something on her mind. Anybody who stands up and lets a rifle be fired at her is earning a living the hard way. I was thinking about it when the call buzzer zizzed in my ear. I dipped in with the crowd during the overture and took my seat, first row right on the aisle, easy to get at. An usherette shoved a program in my hands. The Great Torino was scheduled next to closing. Okay, that meant I'd have to sit through the rest of the acts. I did. It was skipping. But the Great Torino was something different. He had 2 assistants, a girl and a good-looking young guy. It was a magic act with class, and Torino was clever with his hands. He did a trunk effect that was really great, and the girl who helped was the same girl whose cutout was in the lobby. Torino tied her with a rope, slipped a big canvas bag over her, and locked her in a trunk. He fired a shot, and bang, the girl came running down the aisle. And the trunk she was put in, well, empty. All done in a split second, too. The Great Torino took his bow, but I noticed something. When he reached out to take the girl's hand and bow with her, she managed to be busy at something else. Okay. She didn't like him. He gave her a funny look, then walked to a rack and picked up a nice nickel-plated rifle. I sat up in my seat because the girl threw a quick look at me and a tiny nod. No one would have noticed it but me. I looked back at Torino, who was speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to call your attention to my final effect. A most dangerous one. So dangerous that few illusionists will attempt it. The history of the magician's art has recorded several deaths during the feat. My assistant will go into the audience now and select a committee of volunteers who will please come upon the stage. Maria, if you please.
So the girl was Maria. I guess my cue was to be selected as one of the committee. I raised my hand. She picked me. I went on the stage with 4 others from the audience. Stood there while Torino went to the footlights and spoke again.
Please, the music. No music. Please, no music. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall give the gentlemen of the committee this rifle. It may be examined thoroughly. Also, 3 bullets, which they may mark later for identification. Gentlemen, the rifle. And here, the bullets. Please mark the lead in any way you choose, unmistakably.
We took the rifle and the bullets. And the Great Torino, well, he had the audience sitting on the edges of their seats. No one knew exactly what was going to happen, and Torino wasn't going to tell them until the right time came. Then one of the other men on the committee spoke to me and...
bullets look okay to you?
As good as any bullets can look. 22s, huh?
Yeah. How do we mark them?
Initials?
Yeah, good idea. The 3 of us cut our initials in the lead. That all right with you, mister?
Good. How about the rest of you?
Suits me. I've got a knife here.
Yeah, let me see the rifle.
Yeah, sure, here.
Rifle look okay? No gimmicks?
Well, not that I can see.
All right, my initials are cut in the bullet. You want to cut yours?
Oh, yes. I cut my initials, DH, in one of the bullets. So we had 3 bullets with initials cut in the lead. No chance for substitution. Then Torino took the rifle and the bullets.
Thank you, gentlemen. Grazie tanto. You are satisfied?
Sure I am.
Yes. Good. Now, if you will all watch closely, I shall load the bullets in the rifle. So, and what is your name, sir?
Holiday.
Good. Then, Mr. Holiday, if you will please hold the loaded rifle until I am ready for it.
Oh, sure.
In this way, there can be no trickery. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw me load the marked bullets, yes? So, and you have the loaded rifle. Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce once more Maria. Maria? The young lady is as courageous as she is lovely. Maria, you will take your place, please. Mr. Holiday, would you care to shoot at Maria?
Oh, no. No, thank you.
Then that leaves it up to me. No. The rifle, please.
Oh, here you are.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall ask for complete quiet. Thank you. Maria, you are ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
The Great Torino walked to the other side of the stage. He raised the rifle to his shoulder, pointed it at Maria. She was pale as death. Her arms were tense, tight. Perspiration stood out on her forehead, and on mine, and on everyone in the audience. Then, so help me, this is what happened. A bullet appeared between Maria's teeth. She let it drop to a plate she held in her hands, then... and two more bullets popped between her teeth and fell to the plate. No one in the audience moved. No applause, just that tense feeling. Torino walked over, took the plate. His hands never touched the bullets. I'll swear to it. He walked to me and the other three men with me, and...
Gentlemen, you will please to identify the bullets, yes? This one. Initials T.G.
That's me. Yeah, that's mine, all right.
Thank you. And this one. K.R.
Mine.
Thank you. And the third, D.H.
That's mine. How did he do it? I don't know. All I know is that when I walked off the stage, Maria managed to get a note into my hands. When I read it later, it asked me to meet her at a little coffee shop about 3 blocks from the theater. All right, that's what I did. We sat in a booth, back out of the way, and Maria talked.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Holiday.
That's all right, Maria. I saw a great act, but what am I doing in it?
You can help me. Please help me.
How? Doing what?
You can keep Torino from killing me.
More coffee?
Didn't you hear me?
Oh, sure. Sure, but I don't get it.
You saw the act. The rifle trick.
Yeah, it was great.
Then you must see how easy it would be for Torino to kill me while doing it.
Slow up a little, Maria. Let's start from the beginning.
All right. You saw the other assistant.
You mean the good-looking kid?
That's Billy. I love him and he loves me.
Then what's your problem?
Torino. He hates Billy. And he hates me for loving Billy.
Jealous?
Insanely.
Well, quit then.
I will. After tomorrow night's performance.
But why wait if you're afraid?
I won't be afraid if you're there.
What could I do?
Be on the committee again. If I think anything's wrong, I'll signal you.
And then?
Do anything. Drop the rifle, but don't give it back to Torino.
Now, wait a minute. How could he kill you?
He'd claim it was an accident. 3 magicians or their assistants have been killed accidentally doing the trick. The mechanism of the gun goes wrong.
Giving away secrets, Maria?
I have to. There's a mechanism in the breech of the gun. It drops the real bullets down into Torino's hand when he closes the breech.
Oh, then I get an unloaded gun.
There are blanks in it. The mechanism substitutes them for the real bullets.
That's good. And he slips the real bullets to you.
Yes, when he takes my hand to introduce me.
And you slip them into your mouth.
While the audience is watching Torino and the rifle.
I see. Maria.
Yes?
Why don't you go to the police?
Torino would know. He'd know.
How?
He watches me.
Then aren't you afraid he's watching now?
No, not tonight. I slipped away. I don't think I could manage it again. Don't you see, Mr. Holliday, you're my only chance. I saw your ad in the paper, box 13.
You mean the police would ask him questions, and he'd lay low until he got the chance to...
Yes. Will you be there tomorrow night, Mr. Holliday? Look, I have a ticket for you here. The same seat. Please. Please.
All right, Maria. I'll be there.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And we'll try to keep the trick from being trumped by the Great Torino.
And now, back to Box 13 with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, it sounded like a great assignment. From the way the setup looked from where I sat, it gave the Great Torino a perfect chance to kill Maria. I checked on Maria's story about the accidental deaths during the trick, and Jonesy at the Star-Times verified it. A smart cookie like Torino could fake an accident, and who's going to pin the black ribbon on him? Nobody. Okay, it's up to you, Holliday, to figure it out. The next night, I sat in the same seat and watched Torino go through his act. The trunk thing, still great, knocked the audience off their seats. Me, too. Couldn't figure it. But the big stuff was still to come, the rifle trick. I went on the stage, kept my eyes on Maria. I marked one of the bullets again. Oddly enough, Torino didn't seem to recognize me. That was all right with me.
And now, ladies and
Torino went through his same spiel, word for word. I kept my eyes on Maria. But it was though she'd never seen me before in her life. She looked... Well, it sounds silly, but she looked hypnotized. Then I heard Torino saying to me...
Mr. Holliday, would you care to shoot at Maria?
No, thank you. Torino looked at me hard. My name and my face together might have tipped him. There was a funny look in his eyes. I stared at Maria. Not a sign from her.
Maria, you are ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
I relaxed a little. She hadn't given me a sign. Everything was all right, and then...
Maria! Maria!
She dropped. Maria dropped. And right between her eyes was a little round hole.
Look, Holliday. Is that straight, that story?
Sure it is, Kling. She was afraid she'd be killed.
But you say she didn't give you a high sign.
No, she didn't even look at me.
But she told you if there was anything wrong, she'd tip you.
Yes, but she didn't tip me.
Okay. Sergeant.
Yes, sir, Lieutenant.
Get Torino over here.
Yes, sir. All right, Joe. Lieutenant Kling wants you.
Got any ideas, Holliday?
I'm dry. Bone dry, Kling.
What about this guy, Billy, she told you about?
I told you.
Okay. It was accident. Something she was go wrong. Please.
Quiet. Now look.
Accident. She's wrong accident to happen. I am an artist. You tell me I do something wrong. No, it is wrong.
Holy mackerel. Sergeant.
A million times.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Put this guy in his dressing room and keep him there until he blows off that head of steam. But watch his door. And the window from outside.
Yes, sir. Come on, Houdini. Come on.
It's funny, Kling.
I'm hysterical, I don't think. What's funny?
The girl, Maria. I don't think she knew me tonight. She looked right at me. Didn't give me a tumble.
Yeah? So?
She told me she'd signal me if anything was wrong. I don't get it. But it looks as though she...
She what?
She deliberately let Torino fire a gun she knew was set to kill her.
That makes great sense.
I know. No sense at all. And besides that,
they're... Get away with it. You're going to let him tell you it's all an accident. Well, don't believe it. He killed her.
That's Billy.
Kling.
What?
Let me ask him a couple of things.
Now, look, Holliday, I'm in charge of this case. You're in on a rain check.
Okay, but I'm in, huh?
Yeah, for the one reason that Maria told you about it, and
He killed her. It wasn't an accident.
Oh, I better go help the sergeant.
Any objections if I mosey along with you?
None. Just keep your mouth closed, that's all.
Sure.
All right.
So I listened while Kling asked questions. But there was something knocking at the back of my head, asking to be let in. Something I'd seen, heard, remembered. I didn't know. But what bothered me was Maria not giving me a signal. When she said she'd know if Torino was up to something. Billy answered Kling's questions.
No. All I know is that Torino bluffed Maria. He said he'd kill her if he saw me hanging around her. Who loads the rifle with blanks? Maria. Maria? Did she do it tonight? She always does it. Well, I don't believe it.
Maria loaded the rifle herself. She did. Before the performance. So I got an idea. I left the stage where the investigation was going on, and I walked backstage toward the dressing rooms. I wanted to talk to Torino, but there was a large blue cop sitting at the door. He looked at me and...
Well, Holiday.
Oh, hi, Murph.
I feel lousy.
No, that's too bad. Say, think I could talk to Torino?
No.
Oh, now, look, you can watch and listen, tell Kling everything that goes on.
Playing detective, Holiday?
Nope, playing a hunch.
What about?
Why not listen and find out? And if you learn anything, tell Kling. And you might learn something good.
You mean something that might break the case?
Yeah, might.
Oh, well,
What's the matter, Murph? Can't you use a couple of stripes?
Aye, sure. Oh, okay. But I'm standing right here, understand?
Sure.
Right. Hey, you, get up and... Oh, brother. Look. Ain't nobody gonna ask him no questions.
No, I don't think he's in any shape to answer.
A promotion, you say? A promotion? I'll be lucky if I ain't fouled up for good. This guy's been knifed right under my nose.
That's right. Somebody stabbed Torino. He was as dead as Maria. And nobody saw anybody go in or out of the dressing room. There was one window. It was open. But the officer outside swore he had his eye on it. Nobody in or out. And nobody in the room but Torino. Well, the knife was in his back, so suicide was out. Kling and his boys turned the room upside down. Torino's apparatus and trunks were shoved around. Still nobody. And it turned out nobody had a motive for killing Torino except Billy.
Me? Me? Are you crazy? I never left the stage. I was talking to you. I was answering questions. I can't be in two places at once, can I?
He was so right. Kling was tearing his hair. Then more questions. The rest of the acts were strangers to Torino. Knew nothing about him. I was thinking about it when something hit me. Something Billy had said. While Kling was still firing questions, I got to a phone. Hello? Oh, hiya, Kenny. Still running that private eye? Swell. Do something for me, will you? Okay. Put a man on the Tivoli Theater right now. And get him to tail a guy named Billy. Huh? Here's what he looks like. About 5'9", stocky, light complexion, wearing gray suit.
Good morning, Mr. Holliday.
Hiya, Susie. Any messages?
Uh-huh. The detective agency called.
And what? What's the message?
Oh, I wrote it down shorthand here. Trail Billy in shoe. No, wait a minute. Ooh, terrible ink. I got it. To insurance company this morning. He placed claim for double indemnity policy for his wife, Maria Baker. Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Holliday. That's not all.
That's enough. I'll see you later, Susie.
Torino.
Step on it, Jonesy.
Oh, you want hard facts? It takes time to find them, even in the morgue of the Star-Times.
Okay, Jonesy, okay, but hurry up, will you?
Here we are. Torino, born Italy.
Skip that. How long has he been in the country?
6 months. Noted magician in Italy and Europe before the war.
Only 6 months. Now, Jonesy, if you were a magician, you wanted assistants. How would you get them?
Advertising a billboard, magazine for show folks. What else?
Where can I see the last 6 months' copies of the billboard?
I got a local office in town. All the copies you want. Hey, where you going?
Thanks, Jonesy. Be seeing you. I've got a lot of reading to do. 6 months' copies of the billboard. I looked through every one of them, and when my eyes were falling out of my head, I saw it. An advertisement. The one I wanted. And the one that tied up was something Billy said. And something I saw during Torino's act. I tried to get Kling on the phone, but no dice. He was out. I left word for him to meet me at the Tivoli, and I went there myself. There was nobody there but the watchman. The $5 bill got me in. Oh, there's no place gloomier than backstage in an empty theater. I headed for Torino's dressing room because I had a good idea how someone got in and stabbed Torino, then disappeared. I opened the door, stepped inside. It was dark. The shade on the window must have been down. I was fumbling for the light switch when somebody pulled the shade on me. Oh!
Got any idea who slugged you, Holiday?
Yeah, Kling, I have.
All right. Who?
Billy, maybe.
No dice. He didn't come near this place. We had a tail on him.
Do you know about the insurance?
Sure. But he couldn't have killed his wife because she loaded the blanks into the gun.
Uh-huh. And the medical examiner's report on the bullet that killed her? What about that?
22.
No initials on it?
No, none. So it looks like this Maria deliberately planned her own death. It wasn't an accident. If it had been, the bullet in her head would have been marked.
Kling, put out a dragnet.
For who?
For the one who slugged me.
Now cut it, Holiday. If you know anything, spill it before I lose my temper. Who do you want to pick up?
Here's a description. Young woman about 26.
26.
Brown hair.
Brown hair.
Lovely blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
About 5'2".
5'2".
Worked as a magician's assistant.
Hey, what are you giving me? That's Maria.
Uh-huh, Maria.
She's dead, you dope.
You mean her twin sister's dead, Kling.
Twin sister? What are you talking about?
The trunk effect Torino worked could have only been done with twins. Billy tipped me off on it.
Billy?
Sure, when he said nobody could be in two places at once. And Torino advertised in the billboard for twins.
You aren't dreaming this.
Put out a dragnet for Maria.
Who stabbed Torino?
Maria. She got her twin sister to take her place in the rifle trick last night. That's why I didn't get a signal from her. The sister didn't know me from Adam.
Now, look, Holiday, we searched this dressing room. There was nobody in it when Torino was stabbed.
Maria was here. Look. False back in this cabinet. Good old magician's gimmick. She was here all the while. Maria and Billy took out an insurance policy on her and planned to make me the patsy. Because I'd testify that she told me Torino hated her, that she was scared. Torino was knifed to keep him from spilling about the twins. Billy was in the clear on that, because he had an alibi when Torino was killed. Okay, Clint?
Okay. We'll put out a dragnet.
Got her, Mr. Holliday?
Yeah, Susie. They got her.
Gee, sounds just like a story.
Uh-huh.
Only nobody will believe it.
Look, I've got a knot on my forehead to prove it. Well, does that make you hysterical?
No, but I was just thinking.
Don't be reckless, Susie. What about?
I was just thinking, with that bump, you'll have to wear off-the-face hats for a while.
You're a great help. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville with original story by Russell Hughes and original music composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. This is a Mayfair production.
Well, welcome back. I've got to say, the way that this plot worked out, I'm I think that there were some great deductions here by Dan Holiday to solve this mystery. Just great detective legwork. I was totally surprised by the ending and the way that it was written. If they actually performed that second scene rather than just inserting the same audio twice, that may have been a little bit repetitive for the actors. Well, one show that that I looked at to see if it'd be of any interest was Blackstone, the Magic Detective. It was a 15-minute radio show focusing on a magician who solved mysteries. Pretty self-explanatory. Well, a few minutes of the show would be dedicated to the actual mystery, and then Blackstone explaining his solution. So you didn't have very much mystery, because then he did a magic trick over the radio. He told you how to do it. You know, the thing with an illusion is you're really amazed when you see it. Magic over the radio, I don't necessarily buy into. But I gotta say that all things considered, it was done very well here, particularly with that box trick and the way that Holiday unlocked the key to the whole mystery by figuring out how that was done. So, very nicely done for Dan Holiday.
Twin screws, 2-to-1 reduction gear.
Yeah. What's the quickest way of getting out to it?
Well, there's not much craft for Chow to hear about this time of night, you know. There's that Novak fella, but just at present he's sleeping 1 hour.
Figures.
Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you another episode of Pat Novak for Hire. A little pre-roll we did was from The Adventures of Sam Spade. Thought it was nice to include, make something profitable of my little search for the mysterious episode where Jack Webb supposedly guest stars. That was listed as guest starring Jack Webb. Making a comment on a show in which Jack Webb stars does not make it does not make it guest starring Jack Webb any more than I could say, you seen the Jay Leno show? Guest starring Jay Leno. Watch the State of the Union speech this year? Guest starring President Obama. But I digress from that labeling issue. All right. So, we were. I did want to let you know there's kind of a skip in chronology, because there. At this point, after the last episode, they went ahead and aired the 1949 version of Dixie Gillian, the first episode we played. I went ahead and listened to it. I basically made the decision that I really, truly thought that the 1946 version was better. And there wasn't that much difference with the 1949 version. It wasn't like Johnny Dollar, the Milford Brooks III matter, where you had a lot of casting difference. You had a few story differences. This one, there wasn't all that much. The big thing was they had a different person playing Dixie Gillian. They had a different... a different person playing Hellman and Raymond Burr. That was it. Everything else, same exact script. Nothing that I could really perceive, except Jack Webb was performing this show as if he had this. Haven't I done this before since? Yes, you have. So we're skipping ahead to the next episode people haven't already heard, and that's the Sam Toliver episode. Now, this episode, we kind of get a little bit of background on Pat Novak, so this will be fun. Before we get started, I do want to let you know about our web host. 1&1 boasts of 9 million members. You should become one of their customers as well. Because they offer unlimited bandwidth, reasonable prices, and great service. So check out the world's #1 web host, 1&1. Go to hosting.greatdetectives.net or go to greatdetectives.net, click the hosting link. But let's go ahead and get into today's episode, Sam Toliver.
Pat Novak for hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my place says. Pat Novak for hire. It's the easy way because down here on the waterfront in San Francisco, you can't afford to wait your turn. If you're going to make a living down here, you got to do everything you can. And you got to be out of the hen house by sunup. Even then, it doesn't work out always because you get trouble tax-free. It's like leukemia. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no way to duck it. You might as well try to start a conga line in the cathedral. I found that out Monday night when I met an old friend. It was the night before elections, and I was sitting in the office scratching married women out of an old date book when Sam Toliver showed up. I hadn't seen him for years, but it was a nice, easy meeting. What other way is there when you're good friends?
You look just the same, Patsy.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Sam. Sit down.
Sure. Doing well, I guess, huh?
Oh, you get different stories. Where have you been?
Oh, all the hard luck stops. Syracuse for a while and Joliet. That's where I come from now.
Yeah? That's where they got a big prison.
Uh-huh.
When you came too far, Sam, you should have stopped in Oakland.
Huh?
That's right. If you're out here to play small robber, you better think it over. It's a tough town.
Don't ride me, Patsy.
I'm not, Sam. But once you start losing them, it's hard to win again. I just thought you might want to know about San Francisco.
Thanks, but you don't have to worry, Patsy. I got a smart streak. I'm here mostly to ask a favor.
Yeah?
Can you spare me one for old time's sake?
Medium-sized. Go ahead.
I want to borrow one of your boats.
Did you come all the way from Joliet to borrow a boat, Sam?
If it's going to hurt that much, forget it.
I just asked. All right. When do you need it? Tonight?
It's to pick up a package in the bay about 9 o'clock.
Sure, I'll run you out.
No, it's a little different, Patsy. I can't make the trip. You'd have to do it for me.
The favor's getting bigger, Sam.
You'd have to pick up the package and bring it back here. I'll be waiting at 10 o'clock. I guess you won't buy, huh, Patsy?
I'm not impressed.
It'd mean a lot to me, Patsy. It really would. And you couldn't get hurt, honest.
Nobody gets hurt, honest. It's the other way I'm worried about.
Well, I wish I could tell you, Patsy, but I can't. You know how it is. Sometimes you can't, but... Well, it's that way now, but... You'd be doing me a real favor and you wouldn't get hurt.
That's what Henry used to tell his wives. All right, Sam. But you put out a bad story.
Well, Patsy, you have to go by the China Star. She's out in the stream. Just tell them you came for that package. They won't ask. Just tell them you want the package.
Yeah?
Talk to the captain. I'll be waiting here at your place about 10 o'clock. And, Patsy, it's important. Don't let anybody else have it.
All right. I'll see you here at 10.
Thanks, Patsy. It's a big favor.
We're old friends.
Yeah. We're old friends. Nothing wrong with them, huh?
No, there's nothing wrong with old friends, Sam, except sometimes they wear out on you. Sam Toliver walked out of there, I began to worry. I don't know why, because he was always a good guy. But if you leave good silk out in the rain, it'll shrink. Thought it was too late to change my mind now. I was going to get that package and say goodbye to Sam Toliver. Only things didn't work out that way. You start with trouble and it never stops. It's like offering to buy aspirin for a two-headed boy. About 8:30, I took a boat and I started out into the bay. Halfway out into the stream, I had to give way to a tanker. After she throbbed by, I picked up the China Star, tied up at buoy 327. It was a broken-down old barge, so old I expected to find Noah hiding out in the bilges. Well, I went aboard, and they took me into the captain's cabin. It was going to be tougher than Sam thought. The old man had some questions, and he was about as smooth as a bag of fingernails. Right away, I got the idea.
What do you want?
I came out for a package.
Who are you?
What good'll a name do you?
Who are you?
What do you care, mister? This isn't our dance. Just give me the package and I'll leave.
Keep shouting, tough boy, and when you're all through, tell me your name.
Now, look, I'm not out here to haunt your boat. You got the right face for it. I'm just passing through.
If you're running a small boat, you got papers. Let's see them.
Yeah. You're too handy in your own cabin.
Novak, huh? You a Polak, Novak?
Yeah, and it feels fine. How's it being a pig these days?
Don't get jumpy. I just asked. Who sent you here, Novak?
I'll forget you asked. Just keep the package. I'm going home.
You walk home on the bottom, then. Now, look, Novak, somebody steered you wrong. Maybe it was no questions once, but it's not that way anymore. Just want to keep the book straight. Who sent you?
Sam Toliver. You need a pencil?
No, that's enough questions. You see, Novak, all you had to do was answer. You can have the package now or talk some more.
I'll take it now. Where is it?
On the desk behind you there.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome, Novak.
The captain didn't like company. When he hit me, I dropped down to the floor like a piece of hard-working lint. The last thing I remember was Sam Toliver sending me out to this boat. I knew then I had no more business here than second trumpet in a string quartet. I could hear voices and people moving around, but it didn't help much. You can get that kind of service in a tomb. Somewhere along the line, they moved me, because when I woke up, I was lying in a cloud of platine on a couch in a different cabin. The class of people had improved. She was bending over me with a cold towel and a warm look. And from where I was, she had a figure like a shot of brandy on a winter night. When she said hello, you knew that all you had to do was send up a flare and relax.
Good evening. Welcome back.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
A little used up. I need recharging.
Here, put your head on my lap. There. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Forget the towel. I'll struggle along this way. By the way, whose lap is it?
I'm Ellen Morrow.
Where's your friend?
The captain?
I guess so, the brave guy, Axel Arm.
He's down getting your boat ready.
What's he doing, punching holes in the bottom?
He'll be back in a minute. The package will be ready and you can leave.
No, you keep the package. The last time I got a headache.
I'm sorry about that. It was a mistake.
That's what they told Marie Antoinette. By that time, her head was 40 feet down the street. What's in that package?
It wouldn't help if you knew.
You let me work that out, huh?
Work out the answer, then.
How about Sam Toliver?
Slow down, Betsy.
I'm not going that fast.
You're going the wrong way. I'll help you lick your wounds, darling, but I'm not going to get talky.
What do you got to lose?
What have I got to gain except your gratitude? I can get that any night with a couple of drinks.
How is he, Ellen?
How does he look?
Too comfortable. On your feet, Novak.
Yeah. You ought to rent that out, sweetheart. I'd sign a lease myself.
I'll finish the sweet talk, Novak. You get on your way. Here's the package.
No, I changed my mind about the package. You keep it.
Your boat's ready. Unless you want to get tossed in like a mackerel, take the package and beat it.
What's in it, and where does Sam Toliver fit?
You asked once already with your head in her lap. You want me to sit down?
Well, you got brains after all.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought they were all in your fists. Yeah, you're still smart.
Take this package. Show him the boat, Ellen.
I'm going to remember you, mister.
Helen's going to lead you by the hand through the dark. Stop beefing and settle for the simple pleasures.
I will. I'll remember you.
Concentrate on Ellen. You'll get a better memory.
I went out on deck with the girl, and as I got to the starboard side, I noticed her hair for the first time. The way you're liable to suddenly notice a flower after a hard rain. Her hair was red, and as the orange lights of the bridge reflected against it, it seemed like a prairie fire, away down in the valley, flaring up quick and then burning low again. The rest of her would have made a good prairie fire, too. It was the only good thing I could think of on the way across the bay. The water was as quiet as a drowsy caterpillar, and I had a chance to think. Why had they changed their mind about giving me that package, and how wet were Sam Toliver's feet? Well, it must have been about 11:30 when I pulled into the pier and started on the run for my office. The lights were on, and I burst right in because I had a lot to ask Sam. But it wasn't Sam.
What's your hurry, mister?
I came here to meet a friend.
That's the guy laying in the corner. You don't have to hurry.
No, this isn't my friend.
He doesn't look like one. I'm Sergeant Grimes from Homicide. If you're Novak, you're in trouble.
Why?
A guy lying under your desk, dripping like a broken inkwell, and you trot out a question like that?
Well, it's a bum caper somewhere. I was supposed to wait for a guy named Sam Toliver.
It might as well have been a streetcar. I'm not going to press you, Novak. I don't care. I'm just going to take you downtown.
Well, this boy quit too late. I've been in the bay the last 2 hours. You can check. I went out there to pick up a package.
The one you got in your arm?
Yeah, it's for a guy named Sam Toliver.
Let's see.
Okay.
It doesn't say that. It says Mr. John Reedy, 720 Post Street.
I wonder what that means.
Let's find out. We'll take it by Reedy's place.
I got it for Sam Toliver.
You can buy him another. We're going by Reedy's before we get downtown.
What's the matter with you? Do you want it on an 18-foot screen? I didn't kill the guy. I don't even know him. I don't even know this John Reedy.
Wait a minute, Novak. I believe you. I believe every word you're saying. Except this is one time you'd be better off lying.
When we left my office, I felt as if somebody had walked through my stomach on stilts. Oh, there were loose ends bobbing up everywhere, and you couldn't get to any of them. It was like chasing a spider with a bowling ball. With all this new stuff, I forgot about the ship. Who's going to worry about blood poisoning if he's busy having hemorrhages? I began to wonder more about Sam. Where was he? And how was I going to palm off that dead stand-in? Grimes didn't seem worried. We got into his Nash and headed for 720 Post Street. It was an apartment hotel, and Reedy lived up on the 3rd floor. On the way in, Grimes picked up a key at the desk, and we rode up in the elevator with one of those shifty-eyed little guys who'd sell his mother if he didn't have to fatten her up. When we got to Reedy's door, Grimes took over.
Open up!
Maybe he can't hear you, Grimes.
Nobody home. Let's go in.
Why? We don't know him well enough to sneak in.
I rate a hunch, Novak.
Okay. The light's on your side.
Leave it out. Let's look around.
Okay. The stray bodies belong to you, Grimes.
You go look in that set of bedrooms. I'll check over here in the library. Give me a yell if you see any.
All right.
Novak! Two of them. I got one by the desk. The other started down the fire escape. I'm going down in front. Take this gun and stand by the fire escape. He may get trapped and start up, so keep your eyes open.
I walked into the library. The window was open, and the curtains were blowing over the dead man's face. It was a good thing, because you can't split the difference with a service 45. I took him by the heels and dragged him away from the window. His eyes were rolled back as if he expected somebody to tap him on the shoulder and tell him it was all a mistake. His face was contorted and frightened, maybe a little embarrassed, like a deer caught in a traffic jam. Well, I stayed at the window about 10 minutes and watched the fire escape. There was no action there, and Grimes wasn't back, so I started for the door. I had company right away.
Hello, Novak. You move?
Oh, Hellman.
It's a big gun you got.
Well, ask Junior here on the floor. He thinks it's even bigger.
I'll check myself.
Sure, and it's going to be easy because it's right in the family.
Yeah?
Yeah. Belongs to one of your boys down in Homicide.
Go ahead.
A sergeant by the name of Grimes steamed in here and knocked down Junior, and then he beat it down to get the other guy.
I don't believe it.
Well, talk to him.
That's why I don't believe it. There's nobody on the force named Grimes. On this one, you're all alone, Novak.
There's got to be a Grimes. The guy had on a uniform.
I don't care if he had on a play suit, Novak. The guy's a phony. He's not from homicide. He's a killer.
That's what I meant, Hellman. I knew Hellman was right. If Grimes was on the level, he'd have booked me instead of coming up here. He came up to Reedy's with murder in mind. Even if they believed the story about Grimes, I was still on the spot. That made me accessory to murder. And I was going to look worse when Hellman found the guy down in my office. On that one, I had star billing. Oh, everywhere I turned, things were worse. I knew it was going to take a low-budget miracle to bail me out. It was like trying to give nose drops to a herd of elephants. Hellman seemed to like the idea. Hellman rolled the guy, and there was no identification. But he never works for nothing.
A few bucks in the guy. I'll put it in the safe.
The only safe you got has suspenders on it.
I don't like that, Novak.
Oh, you'd do anything for a buck, Hellman. If you got the right bid, you'd sell the tomb of the unknown soldier. Thanks, Hellman. I'm getting a big list tonight.
I can do all of that I want, Novak, because you're in the corner pocket now. I get a tip-off from the Chronicle to come up here, and I find you holding last rights.
You got a bigger headache, Hellman. There's another stiff down at my place.
Huh?
That's right, Grimes again. He was sitting there when I walked in.
Where were you?
Out in the bay, picking up a package. It's right there on the desk.
What's in it?
I don't know. It was for a friend of mine named Sam Toliver. He's disappeared, and Grimes brought the package up here.
I'll take it downtown.
You better tag by the China Star. That's where I picked up the package. It's out in the bay, so you'll need a boat. Even a guy with your complex needs a boat.
I'll touch all the bases, Novak. You just stay 10 cents away from headquarters. You can pay your own way into the can.
Yeah, well, that's what'll happen if I wait for you. I'll be standing out in the downpour.
That's right, Novak. If there's a chance, I want to see you get first prize.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be stuck unless I shop around myself because you got lockjaw of the brain, Hellman.
Yeah?
That wouldn't hurt you so much, but if it spreads, you're going to be in trouble. That's what I'm waiting for. Well, if something didn't happen soon, I was going to be about as embarrassed as a hostess with leaky plumbing. I was counting on Hellman to shake down the skipper of the China Star. If that didn't work, I could close shop. I didn't have any leads. There wasn't anything I could do but sit on my hands. It was like taking your niece to a nightclub. I had to stumble around until something showed. So I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he was all right until he found out sometimes you can feel as bad the next morning without a hangover. I toured the town and finally found him at Lupo's trying to put the vineyards out of business.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to start the day off right. Mama Lupo, some wine for Mr. Novak. You can only have a quart. We're running low.
Look, it's almost midnight, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
We're not going to turn into pumpkins. You need some wine.
No, I don't.
Patsy, when you die, the artwork is going to be simple. On your grave, they'll chisel a picture of a pair of slacks, a hamburger, and a double malt.
All right, Jocko.
The final symbols of a decayed civilization, because that's as close as you ever got to civilization, a remote connection at best. Like a bookie, they love horses, but they die on a stock farm. It's the same with you and civilization.
You all through, Jocko?
I won't fight against your sober babble. What's the matter?
There's a dead guy down in my office.
A friend of ours?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. We'll miss the wake.
I'm going to get half hung by homicide. The other half is dead up in a Post Street apartment. Hellman thinks I'm the boy.
Patsy, I wish you wouldn't hang around me when you've just killed somebody. You tarnish my declining years.
I went out to the bay to pick up a package. When I got back to my place, instead of a friend named Sam Toliver, there was a dead guy there and a phony cop called Grimes.
How do you make the distinction?
He grabbed the package and we took it up to Post Street. After a quick hassle in the dark, I'm standing over a dead guy in John Reedy's apartment.
John Reedy?
Yeah. Do you know him?
Most people do. He's running for office tomorrow. Is he the dead man?
No, I don't think so. What about Reedy?
He's running for a board job.
Yeah? Would anybody have a reason to work a plant on him?
Maybe.
What's he like?
Oh, a sort of liberal by marriage.
Hmm?
A reactionary with a rich wife. Supposed to be a good man.
Well, how about the opposition?
Oh, a lot of them are running. One is Simpson. He couldn't beat an asthmatic turtle across a tennis court.
Well, we're getting somewhere at least. If Reedy's good, the gambling dough would frame him to lose.
Yes, if politicians can ever lose. A murder in his apartment would look too phony, though.
Yeah, but maybe that package wouldn't. Jocko, you got to help me. I want you to check on the registration of the China Star and then nose around to find out what you can about tomorrow's election, will you?
If we lived in a monarchy, this wouldn't happen.
That fast double play has got something to do with this election. Now, hurry up, Jocko, and when you're through, tag by my place. I'll call you there.
Have you a bottle in the house?
There's a tap in the kitchen. That'll have to do.
No, thanks. Outside of a child in pain, the most pathetic sound in the world is running water. Good night, lover.
I left Jocko and ducked into a phone booth. When I called Hellman, he poured out news like a rotary press. They broke open that package down at headquarters. It was full of dope. Plain garden variety, the kind a man uses to forget either his wife or secretary. I was sure then the package was a plant on Reedy. Hellman didn't see it that way. He said the 2 dead men were Gunsels, last addressed before San Francisco State Prison at Joliet. I needled him about that phony cop Grimes. Hellman said they just got a tip-off by telephone. Grimes was an ex-sergeant in homicide whose real name was Vic Rothery. I asked him who phoned in the tip-off, and Hellman said he didn't know the guy. His name was Sam Toliver. I got out of the Chronicle morgue and looked up everything I could on John Reedy. All politicians' children sit on the floor. There was a picture of Reedy there with his family grouped around him on the floor. I pulled the clips on Vic Rothery. It was Grimes, all right. Well, that gave me something to work on, so I went on the prowl for Ellen Morrow. I found her running a dice game in a little after-hours joint on Eddy Street.
You want chips, Novak?
You don't want to play against yourself? Yeah, give me some.
All right. See how good you are.
Okay.
8's your point.
Yeah. You seen Sam Toliver?
Make your point, Patsy.
That's it. Where's Sam Toliver?
5. You're not even warm. You're not warm on Sam, either.
He left me hanging with a murder rap.
Your friend double-crossed you.
He double-crossed you, too.
Another 5. You're in a rut, Patsy.
He turned in Grimes. That's right, baby. They know he's Vic Rothery now. You still like Sam Toliver?
No. Keep rolling, darling.
Is Grimes your boyfriend?
He used to be. I'm sentimental.
Where's Sam Toliver?
The Herrick Hotel. When you see him, tell him I sent you.
I will if we talk that long.
There it is.
Hey, come on.
8.
That's right.
I guess I lose, Patsy.
I guess you do. Be seeing you, baby. She changed when I left. The first time out, she was alive and breezy like the Maine coast in July. But now she was broken up and lonely looking. And as I walked out, I thought of an old Dixie cup somebody had used up and thrown in the alley. Well, I got down to the Herrick Hotel, but Sam Toliver wasn't there. Maybe it was better that way. I left a note for him, a short note that even a Mongolian idiot couldn't trip up on. If Sam was going to show his hand, he had to do it soon. When I got back to my apartment, Jocko was already there. He was giving a concert for the mice.
Oh, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage in the merry, merry month of May.
All right, Jocko.
She pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed it for a Williams man who's far, far away.
Oh, stop it, will you?
Patsy, I wish you'd get rid of that radio and buy a good harpsichord.
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Nothing from the China Star. She weighed anchor and went to sea at 11:45.
How about Reedy?
Well, there's heavy gambling money against him. And there's talk about a last-minute scandal. All the newspapers had tip-offs.
Where was he tonight?
At a rally in the Mission District with his whole family.
Well, that'd leave time for a plant. They broke open that package. It was full of dope.
Oh, that makes sense. He was once under treatment for malaria. The drugs found in his apartment would make it look bad.
Yeah, I'll get it. Hello, Novak talking.
I hope so, because you got a lot to do.
What's on your mind, Hellman?
A girl named Ellen Morrow. Who killed her?
Did they?
About 20 minutes ago. Vic Rothery's picture was all over the place.
Yeah, they were chums. You better pick up Sam Toliver. He's at the Herrick Hotel.
I'd rather have Vic Rothery.
Haven't you picked him up yet?
No, we're on our way out.
Well, you better hurry, Hellman. There won't be any voters left.
I thought Sam Toliver was a friend of yours.
Well, that's the trouble with close friends. You give them the shirt off your back so they can see where to put in the knife. After Hellman's call, I knew we were coming up for the last hand. I met him, and we rode down to Vic Rothery's hotel. It was early morning, just about the time Dawn is too sleepy to get out of bed. In the pale light, Geary Street looked like a shabby old lady with a snootful, and Rothery's hotel was worse. Hellman flashed a badge on the night clerk, who reached over and handed us a key. It was a funny thing to notice then, but the guy's hands were short, and his fingers were peeled and stained yellow as if they'd been dipped in weak acid. Well, we rode up to Rothery's room. As we got out of the elevator and turned the corner, somebody ducked into Rothery's room. That was enough for Hellman. He started down the hall.
Open up in there.
You got another customer, Hellman.
Open up.
Come on in. You're going to wake everybody up.
Hello, Sam.
Come on in. Don't mind the gun. It's loaded.
You're a handy cop, Hellman.
That's it. I'll close the door. All right, over near the window.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sure. You got an answer for Rothery here?
You too, copper, over near the window.
I ask you got an answer for Rothery here?
You're looking at it, mister. You know, Patsy, I'm sorry you came. I could bounce a few off of this guy with no pain at all, but it's going to hurt on you.
Don't kid me, Sam.
I don't know why you came, Patsy. You could have left me alone. I didn't mean to put you in for this. Things went wrong and you were in, that's all, but I didn't mean to do it, Patsy.
Give the man your gun.
You were a good guy to me, Novak. I'm sorry you drew the deuce. I'm really sorry because, well, you were a good guy to me.
Well, I'm not anymore, Sam. You got 5 feet to make up your mind.
I got it made up, Patsy. Now stay back. Let me try it out on him first.
You've had practice.
Stay back, Patsy. I'm in a hole and I'll burn my way out. You know that. Patsy, I'm in a hole. I gotta get out.
Don't kid me, Sam. I was your last friend. All you got now is the road.
Stay back, Patsy, please. Patsy, stay back.
Let that, Sam.
I must have prayed wrong, Novak.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. I'm a tough loser.
Yeah. You were right, Patsy. It's a bum down for a small robber.
For a while, you looked big.
Not for long, though.
No. You're a small-time bum, Sam, and you're better off dead.
I wouldn't argue it. I'm sorry, though.
I doubt it.
I guess that's right. I didn't try very hard.
How's your friend, Novak?
Let's go. The friendship's over. Well, Hellman finally pieced it all together. He got that skipper back and put him under the lights. The story was damp, but it fit together. They were all in on a deal to railroad John Reedy. Vic Rothery headed up a bunch to plant the dope in his apartment. But Sam Toliver got anxious and decided to get the stuff for sale. He talked a couple of buddies into it and sent me out to the ship to pick it up. The captain smelled a switch and knocked me out long enough to get word to Rothery on the beach. Rothery got the guy in my office and the other guy that Sam posted in Reedy's place in case anything went wrong. That left only Sam on the other team. Rothery wore the uniform because it was an easy way to plant the stuff in Reedy's apartment. But the timetable went haywire and he got tripped up by that tip-off call to the Chronicle. That's about the way it was. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come Sam Toliver headed for the girls' place and then Rothery's? I don't know. Except maybe that note I left Sam. How'd I know he'd believe a lie? Well, it worked out for everybody except John Reedy. He lost the election anyway. Jocko forgot to mention the guy was a Republican.
Pat Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Well, welcome back. The last touch with the guy being a Democrat was particularly, it creates this kind of sense of irony. Like everything they went for was for naught, because this is San Francisco, which was a huge Democratic city. So all the efforts that were being taken to rig the election were silly because the guy was going to lose anyway. Which kind of gives it almost a Maltese Falcon feel to it. This was an episode that where Pat Novak didn't get involved for money, but over friendship. It was kind of different to see him with a friend who wasn't, and when he wasn't in a jam, and it wasn't Jocko Madigan. So. I thought that was interesting. Got in the reference to ethnicity, which I don't know if I'd thought of that before. This was after World War II, so may have been some significance to that. And of course, William Conrad guest starred as the captain. And it's interesting to have William Conrad and Raymond Burr on the same show because they've got this kind of similar quality in the voice. And the final thought I had on this was, Novak was going really good until, but when you cross him and you get him mad, it ends up with him wishing, saying the guy's better off dead. You go, ouch. That one ended very roughly. So, from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you back to 1948 for an April episode of Let George Do It. This episode is called The Wolf Pack. Does not actually feature any real wolves. So I can also let you know that no animals were harmed in the preparation of this radio show. Got any comments, feel free to send them, box13@greatdetectives.net. Cast your vote for the show over at Podcast Alley, podcastalley.greatdetectives.net. Also, please take our listener survey, survey.greatdetectives.net. All right, well, before we get into the show, I do want to let you know about a company we are affiliated with, and that's Priceline. The company William Shatner is a spokesperson for. Well, it's more than just celebrity spokespersons. It's great deals on travel, whether you're talking about airlines or you're talking about hotels, cruises, rental cars, travel packages. Priceline is your place to go to get great deals on travel, and also to take advantage of specials and to work out favorable deals with travel companies by naming your own price. Please go to greatdetectives.net, click the Priceline banner, or go to travel.greatdetectives.net. That's travel.greatdetectives.net. Well, speaking of travel, we're ready to go ahead and travel back in time to 1948 with the Wolfpack.
Standard of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invite you to Let George Do It. Another adventure of George Valentine.
Personal notice. Danger is my stock and trade. If you're up against something you can't handle and it has to be kept strictly confidential, you've got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Dear Mr. Valentine, the day after tomorrow, a boy 16 is getting out of a work camp after a year. Instead of trying to get a new start, he swears he's going to do something that'll take him right back there again, or even worse. You've got to help him. You've got to save him from himself. I don't have much money. I'm only 16, too. Only 16, too. But I'll work the rest of my life paying you if you'll do everything you can to help Eddie. I'll be waiting for you tomorrow morning at 7 in front of the Lincoln statue in Chelsea Square Park. It's just signed Emily, George.
Yeah. Chelsea Square Park, huh? Brooksy, that's right in the middle of that slum jungle where those so-called wolf packs have been running wild.
Yes, and kids just about this age.
Always good for an editorial. Young hoodlums, a challenge to society. Well, that's where it usually ends. Brooksy, looks like we're going to be on the job early tomorrow morning.
George, wait a minute.
What is it, Brooksy?
Over there, sitting under the statue of Lincoln. There, feeding the pigeon.
Oh, yeah. Looks like our girl, all right. Come on, Angel. Let's see how unlike an editorial we can be when we talk to her.
Now, that's all the crumbs I have. No use hanging around. Go on, scoop, go on.
Emily?
Yes? Oh, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh, I didn't really believe you'd come, and I...
Hello, Emily.
This is Miss Brooks. We work together.
How do you do? Hello, Miss Brooks. If things weren't so terrible for Eddie, I'd feel pretty silly. I don't have anything in the world, and there's no reason for you to help me.
Well, let's just say you write a darn good letter.
Now, what about Eddie, Emily? He's a boy I know. He gets out tomorrow.
Why was he sent away?
The police found him in a stolen car.
I see.
But he didn't steal it. He thought he was delivering the car to a second-hand dealer for somebody, just to make a little extra money.
Well, didn't he tell that to the police?
No. He just kept insisting over and over that he didn't steal it. He wouldn't even tell me who got him into that trouble. But he says that since everybody is so sure he's no good, he's going to prove they're right. You know what that means.
Oh, now, Emily.
Well, I know Eddie. He's lost his temper a lot of times, and he got into scrapes, but, well, he's not bad. Not really.
Emily, you're pretty sure of that, aren't you?
I suppose when you believe in somebody, you just do, that's all.
All right. Now let's see what we can do.
He has no place to go, Mr. Valentine.
What do you mean?
He only has his father, and Eddie was supporting Mr. Prokosh, selling papers.
Yes?
Well, when Eddie was arrested, Mr. Prokosh told him he never wanted to see him again. And Eddie's very proud. He'd never go back home now.
Well, people change a lot in a year.
Do they? My mother and father haven't. They still think Eddie's no good. And even now, when I went to help him, I have to meet you in the park before I go to school.
All right, Emily, suppose you leave Eddie to me.
I'm going to secretarial school now, and in another year I'll start working. And if you don't mind waiting, I could...
suppose you leave that to Mr. Valentine, too.
Then you mean you'll do everything you can?
That and a little more, Emily. Now, suppose we go and have some breakfast so you can tell me all about Eddie. Then I'm going to have a talk with his father.
I don't care who you are. I want to hear nothing about my son. I got no son. Now get out of my house.
Now, just take it easy, Mr. Prokosh.
Look at me, mister. You see this crippled leg? I got that making honest living. Honest living.
I know. That's dreadful, Mr. Prokosh. But there's still Eddie to think about.
I get few pennies from the company every month. I even bite my tongue and take charity from the Morrissey Association. But better I should hate myself than take one dirty penny my son steals. I don't need it.
But maybe your son needs you.
I told you, lady, I got no son.
Okay, let's just call him another boy, age 16, a boy in trouble and headed for more. But not everybody's sold off in the way you are. His own father.
You know, Mr. Prokosh, you can worry so much about being right that you can be wrong.
Right? Such fancy talk I don't understand.
Hey, Prokosh, I want... Oh. So you got company, eh?
What you want in my house?
Tell these characters a blow. There's something I want you to tell me.
Just who is this imitation Bogart?
His name is Dan Lucas. He's the worst hoodlum of them all.
Look, Pop, Eddie's time's about up. When's he getting out? I gotta know.
I tell you nothing.
You heard me. I gotta know. And you're gonna tell me all.
You what? Let go. That flashy tie you're wearing. You don't knot it half tight enough, so I'm gonna help you. It's not good manners for a tough guy like you to be pushing helpless people around.
Stop it, will you?
You see what I mean, Stanley?
George, look out!
I'll take that.
See the kind knife he carries?
Yeah. Not the kind you peel potatoes with. Why, I ought to...
George, let go of him.
I just got one thing to say to you, mister. Stay out of this neighborhood after dark if you want to live.
Which way do you want to go downstairs, on your head or on your feet?
I ain't through with you. You need a Prokosh.
Beat it. Take that collapsible stiletto with you. Let's hope the cops find it on you. Still have nothing to say to us about Eddie, Mr. Prokosh?
Nothing. You see the kind friends he has? I would rather die than...
know.
All right, let's go, Brooksy. There's one more place I'd like to stop before we meet Eddie tomorrow.
What do I know about Eddie Prokosh? Just about everything, Mr. Valentine.
Good. That's why we dropped in to see you, Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Prokosh says you and the Chelsea Square Association have been helping him out every month.
Well, Miss Brooks, we're sort of a political club, as you know. But we believe in really taking care of our own down here.
So I understand.
Naturally, we hope to win votes. But in a tough neighborhood like Chelsea Square, there are other things that are more important.
Giving out turkeys come Thanksgiving and arranging a boat ride in the summer just aren't enough.
Oh, we do much more than that. We cooperate with the police. Even get to the judge when one of our boys gets into trouble. We've been talking about putting up a playground, too.
Well, I could get the bare facts of what happened in juvenile court. But I thought a man like you, whose business it is to know what's going on, could tell us more than that.
We understand Eddie didn't even try to defend himself on that stolen car charge.
Yeah, I know. But I'm afraid there was very little he could say. He was caught red-handed. Very unfortunate case. But I'm afraid not at all unusual.
Say, tell me, Morrissey, why would a young hooligan like Stan Lucas be interested in knowing when Eddie gets out from the work camp?
Lucas? Oh, that one. There's really a neighborhood problem.
I can imagine.
But Stan's almost a man now. I don't see what he could have had to do with Eddie Prokosh.
Apparently he had a lot to do with him, Morrissey. But it looks as though we won't get the real picture of Eddie till we talk to the boy himself.
Hey, how about a lift, mister, huh? Hey, you going into town? How about a...
Why knock yourself out, kid? I'm going back to town. I'll give you a lift.
What? Oh, I didn't see you parked under that tree.
Hop in, Eddie.
Okay, thanks. What? How did you know my name?
I've been waiting for you, kid. But we'll go into all that later.
Don't listen to Emily. She's just a crazy kid.
And I suppose you're a brainy old man.
Yeah, well, I know what I'm doing. And you can let me off at the next cross and I can get a bus, you know.
No, just keep your shirt on, Eddie.
That kid gets crazy ideas. I know what I'm doing. I don't need anybody's help.
Okay, so you're on your own. Well, let's set it up this way. Look, I live by myself. What do you say we go home and have some chow? You might decide to bunk over with me until you know what you want to do.
I know what I want to do. Hey, mister, you sure you're not a cop?
Well, some of them are my best friends, Eddie, but I don't happen to be one. No, it's just like I said. I had a little talk with Emily while she was feeding the pigeons in the park.
You mean Emily still sits by that statue and... Well, okay, I guess there's no reason why I shouldn't eat your food.
Thanks, Eddie.
There's only one thing a woman likes better than to see a man clean up that last drop of gravy on his plate.
Oh, what's that, Brooksy?
Two men doing the same thing.
Yeah, I sure packed away a lot, didn't I?
That's why I was here, Eddie. Go on, rave some more about my cooking to Mr. Valentine. It may help. See you in the office in the morning, George. Glad to met you, Eddie.
Yeah, me too, Miss Brooks.
Well, thanks, Angel, for being chief cook and bottle washer.
Maybe you can see those dirty dishes in the sink. Good night, George.
Oh, Mr. Valentine.
Yeah, Eddie?
Thanks a lot for the meal, but I gotta get going now.
No, Eddie, no. You're going to stay right here tonight.
Now, look, I said it.
You're stewing about something. You can't wait to get it out of your system without thinking of the trouble it's going to cause everybody, including yourself.
Will you stop preaching at me? You got no right just because you give me a meal. I'm getting out of here.
Not tonight, you're not. Now, look, kid, give yourself a chance to sleep on it. You may feel differently in the morning.
I'm leaving by that door, so get out of my way. Now, I don't want to have to get tough with you, but
Yes?
Okay, you asked for it. No.
Asked for it, too.
Oh, what happened?
Just a little judo trick I had to learn once.
Oh.
Yeah, it came in pretty handy in Salerno.
Hey, you mean you were in that fight in Salerno?
That's right. And the guy coming at you wasn't supposed to land on a nice soft couch like you just did.
Oh.
Well, Eddie, there's no reason why we shouldn't settle down and listen to the fights now. Oh, yes.
What?
When you do go to bed, just remember, I'm a very light sleeper.
So?
So, don't get any fancy ideas about running out on me. Okay, Eddie, time to get up. Hey, Eddie, did you hear me? Rise and shine. Oh, that's it. Say, Eddie, if you want to try my new electric razor, you can... Why, that little... Now, wait. Oh, great. Well, they did leave me a note. That's something. I wasn't asleep like you thought when you went in to take your shower. I even washed the dishes to pay for my room and board. Now, you and Miss Brooks and Emily better stay away from me. You were so anxious to know what I was going to do. Now I can tell you. I'm going to take care of Stan Lucas.
We'll return to tonight's adventure of George Valentine in just a moment. Meanwhile, a word about wear and tear. Most motorists believe, and quite naturally, that automobile engines wear out faster when they're running. But that's not true. Your car faces its biggest danger when it's standing cold, for that's when rust caused by condensed moisture inside cylinders starts to work. And that's where RPM motor oil can help you avoid a repair bill. RPM's special compounds keep a rust-proof oil film on all engine parts all the time. Whether your car is running hot or standing cold, RPM clings stubbornly to vital wear points. And consequently, rust never has a chance to get started in your car. No wonder it's the 2-to-1 choice of Western motorists. Next time you need oil, ask for rust-fighting RPM motor oil at any standard station or independent Chevron gas station. While you're there, ask for a free copy of Batter Up. It's a wonderful handbook on baseball, a gift to you from independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. And now back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine and to Chelsea Square, a jungle of tenements in the middle of the city and a wolf pack of boys stalking the streets. That's the background for George's present job. The specific challenge to keep 16-year-old Eddie Prokosh from committing a serious crime as he promised.
Good morning, George. Hey, you only shaved on one side of your face this morning.
Okay, so that's the side you can kiss me on. But look, we're in trouble, Angel.
What?
Yeah, playing Big Brother a la Spencer Tracy didn't work out. Eddie beat it while I was shaving.
All right, darling, take it easy.
He left this little note. He's out on the prowl. To quote, he's going after Stan Lucas.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I've got to stop him somehow, Brooksy. If I only knew where to find him down there in that Chelsea district. What pool hall, what dark alley, what hallway.
And stand with that knife. What can we do, George?
Well, I'm going to have another talk with Eddie's father. Look, you find Emily.
But where?
Well, she gave us the name of the secretarial school. Call her. Get her to meet you in the park. Maybe she can give us a clue on how we can find Eddie.
Okay, George.
And remember, Brooksy, it's a race against time.
Eddie can't do that. He mustn't.
Emily, stop crying.
Yes, Miss Brooks.
Emily, I'm not going to talk to you like a child. If you're old enough to fall in love with a boy, this is no time to let him down.
I know.
You came to us for help. Now we need yours. Can you tell us some of the places where Eddie might be looking for Stan Lucas?
It could be anywhere, but
Yes, dear.
I should have told you this before, but I couldn't. I mean about Stan.
Stan? Did he have anything to do with that stolen car business?
I'm not sure, but that's not what I meant.
What did you mean?
Miss Brooks, you said you weren't going to talk to me like a child. Well, I'm not going to talk to you like I was one either. All this year, Eddie was up in that work camp. I've been going around with Stan.
Oh.
But I had to. Everybody does what Stan tells them to. I wasn't afraid just for myself, but what he said he'd do to Eddie when he came out.
Does Eddie know that?
No, you know how men are. And I wouldn't want him to know.
Oh, you poor kid.
Well, what could I do, Miss Brooks? Stan said he could even stop the few dollars Mr. Prokosh gets from the association. And he needs that money to live on.
Stan was just talking. But you don't have to worry about him anymore. Mr. Valentine knows how to take care of him.
I'm only thinking of Eddie. If I could only talk to him. I've got to find him.
Wait, Emily, I'll go with you. We'll both look for him.
All I want to know, Mr. Prokosh, is whether Eddie's been here or not.
He knows better than to come here.
Oh, yeah. And I suppose that makes you a great father. Hey, look, Eddie's wandering around. A few words well chosen might save his whole life. And all he gets is a door slammed in his face.
I got nothing more to say, Mr. Valentine.
Well, I have one more thing to say. Your son's out to kill somebody. K-I-L-L. That's the kind of thing you get the big rap for, even a kid of 16.
My Eddie, he would not... First a thief, then a murderer.
Okay, Prokosh, I can't waste any more time on you. A 16-year-old girl had more faith in your son than you have. And I've got to keep faith with her. That stubborn old... Remember me, big shot? Well, at least I didn't have to look for you, Stan.
No, you didn't. Because I was looking for you. Jump, boys, jump. Hold against that wall.
Look, Stan.
Hold him. Twist his arms back, Slim.
No.
I want to do this right.
Hey. No. Oh.
I owe this mug something. Imitation Bogart.
Oh.
You had something to say about my knife, didn't you?
No.
How do you like it?
Oh.
I had to carve my initials all over that face of yours.
Hey, don't do it, Stan.
No, I won't do it. It's really going to be a pleasure to work him over so even his own mother wouldn't recognize him.
I know my diction isn't very good, Lieutenant Riley.
Valentine, what's the matter with you? Where are you?
Just about got to the hall phone. Look, you got to do me a favor.
Yeah, sure. But what's wrong with you?
I thought I could keep the police out of a boy's life, but it's way over my head now. I need your help, Lieutenant.
Okay, shoot.
Look, pick up 2 boys down in Chelsea Square fast. Eddie Prokosh, about 5'8", freckles on his nose, wears a leather jacket. And Stan Lucas, get it?
Stan Lucas, yeah?
He's a dirty, vicious little... Oh.
Valentine, you stay where you are.
Don't worry, Lieutenant. I can't help myself. Hello, Angel.
George,
I know what you mean. The guy doesn't look his best in these hospitals.
Oh, darling, your face.
Look, what about Eddie? Did they pick him up?
Yes.
Before he went to stand?
Uh-huh.
Oh, good.
Not quite so good.
What happened, Brooksy?
Lieutenant Riley has Eddie in jail.
Huh?
They found a gun on him.
But if he didn't get to stand,
The gun was taken from a watchman in a holdup this morning.
Eddie?
No question about that gun.
But, Brooksy, with that guy's record and now this...
I know. But, George, what do you think you're doing? Where are you...
Oh, I'm getting out of here and have a talk with Eddie in jail.
you gotta talk. What about you and that watchman?
What difference does it make what I say? Nobody will believe me.
Come on, Eddie, come on.
Oh, I bought that gun from Swenson, the pawnbroker, just a couple hours ago.
What?
Yeah, I was going to use it on Stan.
Well, did Lieutenant Riley check with the pawnbroker to see if your story was right?
Yeah, sure, but Swenson told him he hadn't seen me since I was sent away.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't be any surprise to me. I should be used to getting framed.
Now, look, you told me the truth, huh, Eddie?
I tell you, I was nowhere near that factory this morning. I was out looking for Stan.
And it was Stan who framed you on that hot car deal.
That's right.
Well, why didn't you say so when you were arrested?
Well, what proof did I have? He would have lied his way out of it. And he wanted to get rid of me so he could have Emily for himself. Yeah, I know all about her going on with him while I was away. One of the kids up at camp told me.
Now, wait a minute, Eddie. You got Emily all wrong.
Yeah,
You know why Emily was going out with Stan? She explained all that to Miss Brooks.
I'm not interested.
She was afraid of what Stan would do to you when you got out. And he said he could stop the allowance your father was getting every month.
What? What's that?
You heard me, Eddie. If Emily were giving you a runaround, she wouldn't come to me to keep you from making a darn fool of yourself.
Yeah, but... nobody does anything for anybody unless there's a payoff in it somewhere. Nobody gives a good hoot about me anyway.
Look at me, tough guy. My face, I mean.
Stan and the gang did give you a good going over, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Very artistic job. You think I'd look like this if I didn't give a good hoot about you?
Well,
and I suppose the payoff in this for me is going to be $1 million.
I'm sorry, Mr. Valentine.
Okay, Eddie, and we understand each other. Now, I'll show you how much I believe in you. Here, take this.
A knife?
Yeah, that's right. Wolfpack style. A la Lucas.
I don't get it.
I'm going to talk to Lieutenant Riley, and you're going to have a chance to talk to Stan alone in his cell when they bring him in.
You mean you're going to let me loose with him, with this?
That's right, Eddie.
Oh, that'll be just standing with me.
Now, look, we've got to get Stan to talk, and he's not giving out for the police or for me. You're the only one who can make him talk. Now, you listen closely.
All right, I don't mind playing ball with you, Valentine. I'm all for helping the kid.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
But you realize the spot I'm putting myself in, letting Eddie have a knife when he talks to Stan?
We'll be right next to the cell door.
Go right in, Mr. Morrison. The lieutenant's waiting for you.
Thank you. Well, it's good to see you, Morrissey.
How are you, Lieutenant? Miss Brooks?
Hello, Mr. Morrison.
I see they're keeping you stepping down there at Chelsea Square.
I'm afraid so, but we do our best.
Well, Valentine thought you ought to be in on this Prokosh case. Eddie's one of your boys, you know.
I know.
Yeah, we're going to hear Eddie's side of the story.
And if it sounds convincing, we know you'd want to help.
I'm glad you thought of me.
Okay, let's get going. Sergeant! Bring the Prokosh boy to cell 9. We'll be right there.
Okay, Eddie. The lieutenant says you can talk to this guy 5 minutes.
Thanks.
Well. When'd you get out, Prokosh? You didn't stay out very long, did you?
No, you saw to that, Stan.
Oh, you're talking through your hat.
Am I?
You want me to give you regards to anybody when I get bailed out? Emily, for instance?
You're not getting out of here.
What are you doing?
You ought to know this trick. How to hide a knife in your shoe so they don't find it when they search you.
Hey, Eddie, put that thing away.
I've been waiting to catch up with you, Stan.
Look, stay away from me.
You framed me, running those stolen cars. Well, now you're going to pay for it.
Look, kid, take it easy, will you?
Didn't you?
Look, I didn't mean to frame you, Eddie. It was all a mistake. Help! Somebody help! He's going to... Stop him!
Help! I was looking around for a gun, and sooner or later I'd wind up at Swenson's, so you planted that hot gun there.
Yeah, that's right. But look, kid... Help get this guy out of here, you hear me? Get him out of here!
Well, get him out of here, all right.
He was trying to murder me. Hey, what are you doing here?
You got a good memory for faces, Stan, especially ones you've been working on.
Gosh, Mr. Valentine, it worked. Well, you heard him, didn't you?
Yes, Eddie, we heard everything.
Look what's going on here. You got no...
Shut up.
Mr. Morrissey, get me out of here. I didn't do nothing.
Well, the less you say, the better, Stan.
Look, you can't let him railroad me like that.
I'll do everything I can, same as I would for everyone else from our district.
I guess you're going to stay put, Lucas. And the rest of your gang will be sent to a place where they can learn to do something useful with their lives. Come on, everybody.
Wait a minute, Lieutenant.
Huh?
Isn't it going to be kind of crowded in here for Stan and Mr. Morrissey?
What are you talking about, Valentine?
What do you mean, George?
That was some nice double talk between you and Stan a second ago. The less he says, the better. The better for you, you meant, didn't you, Morrissey?
Now, look, Lieutenant,
and you, Stan, you said, you can't let them railroad me or I'll...
Well,
or you'd give away the whole works, wouldn't you? Morrissey was the real guy behind the stolen car racket and a lot of other rackets down in Chelsea Square. Morrissey, you were using Stan to bully the other kids into line.
That's why Stan boasted he could cut off the little money Mr. Prokosh was getting from the association.
Well, you don't seem to have much to say, Morrissey.
Everybody knows my reputation.
Oh, yeah, the big power of the neighborhood. Big enough to make Swenson, the pawnbroker, perjure himself so you could be rid of Eddie. I think you can get Swenson to talk now, Lieutenant.
I told you he sold me that gun.
You got this all wrong, Valentine. This Lucas boy here has caused all kinds of trouble. If he tries to implicate me, surely no one is going to believe him.
Marcy, you're not going to walk out and leave me holding the bag. Valentine is right. I got lots of proof.
Keep quiet, you little rat.
See what I mean, Lieutenant? On second thought, it wouldn't be safe to leave them both in the same cell.
Mr. Valentine, what's that saying about an old fool?
Well, I don't know about that saying, Mr. Prokosh. Why not settle for another one? Better late than never.
Except for you, I would have made a terrible mistake. Thank you.
George, come here.
Oh, what is it, Brooksy?
Look down there out of the window.
Huh?
There's Emily and Eddie sitting on the stoop.
Oh, yeah. Offhand, I'd call that romance, Angel.
And offhand, I remember a saying, too.
Hmm?
Speak for yourself, John, if you know what I mean.
And now, a message of importance to motorists. The merry month of May means a merry vacation for a lot of folks. And if you're one of them, here's the way to start out safe as well as happy. Just make sure your car gets a vacation check at a standard station or an independent Chevron gas station. Do this a day or two before you start out. When the men at these service stations inspect your tires, battery, crankcase oil, spark plugs, all the vital parts, they give your car the same thoroughgoing care they'd give their own. While you're getting this important vacation check, get a new keyless gas cap, too. It has a simple combination lock, no key to lose. And it guarantees your gasoline is safe from theft during your vacation trip and whenever you park your car. Keyless, self-locking gas caps are another better motoring item available at independent Chevron gas stations and at standard stations where they say and mean, we'll take better care of your car. Next week, when you tune our way for another adventure of George Valentine, you'll hear...
Oh, hello, Angel.
Oh, darling, I thought you'd never open your eyes.
Oh, why doesn't somebody turn that radiator off? It's hissing.
We're back in the manlock at the tunnel, George.
Huh? Oh, what happened?
Well, you were down here this morning, and you must have come up too quickly, and you got the bend.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. And coming up, and then everything went blank.
There was another accident in the tunnel.
What? Oh, hey, I'm beginning to remember a few things now. And I'm pretty sure I know what causes these accidents. Brooksy, quick, help me over to that phone.
Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Let George Do It stars Robert Bailey as George with Frances Robinson as Claire. Wally Mayer appears as Lieutenant Riley. Tonight's story was written by David Victor and Herbert Little, Jr. and directed by Don Clark. Also heard in the cast were Mary Lou Harrington as Emily, Jay Novello as Dr. Prokosh, Tommy Cook as Eddie, Tony Barrett as Stan, and Herbert Butterfield as Morrissey. The music is composed and conducted by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. The Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Well, let me just go ahead and say about that last part. If anybody is more fluent in 1940s, please get with me. I have no clue what she said or what that reference on her last line was. But other than that, just another really solid performance. I think that this show, what really makes this work is Bob Bailey's performance. And we're going to see that later on as well when we get into the Bob Bailey Johnny Dollar episodes. But in the Let George Do It, he's got this just marvelous character that combines so many elements of so many different detectives. I think he's very hard. I did a blog post a few weeks back about the hard-boiled, soft-boiled definitions. This is a guy who really just defies the definitions. Because he's got this great mix of some very strong toughness, representing, at this point, the ex-GI just a few years back from war, and then also this compassion, as well as the ability to just solve, to come up with these amazing deductive reasonings. So it's just this amazing mix that the writers and Bailey created here. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you another exciting adventure of Sherlock Holmes with Basil Rathbone. And one person who is not terribly fond of the Basil Rathbone performances, Sherlock Holmes media, was Basil Rathbone himself as the years wore on. He left doing Sherlock Holmes voluntarily in 1946. There was nothing the sponsors could have offered to keep him on board the show. He was afraid of getting typecast, but it happened anyway. And one story that's been told, I think, quite a bit was from Dennis Higgins. He says, I was a young reporter covering a luncheon meeting of the New York Advertising Club around 1961 or 62. The star attraction was Basil Rathbone, who gave the audience a half-hour of readings from various literary sources. Also on the program was a young singer named Merv Griffin. After lunch, I saw Rathbone at the coat check, so I walked up to him and introduced myself. I told him how much I enjoyed his work, especially in Sherlock Holmes movies. His response, how tiresome. And some people may say, well, how rude. Well, Rathbone, this had been 15 years after he tried to get away from this entire typecasting as Sherlock Holmes. And maybe a lesser-known anecdote that I think illustrates the real feeling, because it can be a challenge being known for something and being asked about it all the time. A better understanding might be from David Macklin, who said, when talking with Basil Rathbone at Ohio Wesleyan and on the set, I told him that it was his Sherlock Holmes portrayal that had turned me on to the Holmes canon, the original Conan Doyle stories, and it was an inestimable gift to me. I added, can you imagine how many other people were so effective? He replied, yes, I know, but one would like to be known for something else, I said. I said, you are, and the reason I've seen so much of your work is because your Sherlock Holmes turned me on to you. He smiled at the remark, and I'd like to think he was pleased. Because Basil Rathbone, he was a really serious actor on stage and on screen and on the radio as well. This was somebody who had a lot of talent, but it all got obscured by the Holmes movies. And he had to know that some of those Holmes films, some of them were great, but some of them were really B-movie, and some also bordered on B-movie status. But whatever the case, he wasn't as fond of the Holmes portrayal, and even wasn't as fond of Holmes later on when he wrote his biography. It was because it distracted from everything else he had done, and he was, let's be clear, a very, very good actor. The first time I saw Basil Rathbone wasn't actually in Sherlock Holmes. I was at home, and we decided to go ahead and watch a mid-afternoon movie, and they had on The Mark of Zorro, where Rathbone played the heavy, the real heavy in the story. He was technically supposed to be the sidekick to the evil Alcalde. And then it leads to a triumphant final battle between Rathbone and the actor playing Don Diego de la Vega. And you know when Rathbone goes, that's the end of the movie. I mean, they dragged it out for another 20 minutes, but it was over. He was a magnificent villain in that role. And so he wanted to be remembered for something else. And to be seen as more than just Sherlock Holmes, because he was a serious actor. But for better or worse, the Holmes material is what survives. But there are people who are fans of lots of everything Basil Rathbone. One of my favorites, if you're a big-time Rathbone fan, I found this site, and it's such a great site. I'd love to even just talk with the people who started it, but it's www.basilrathbone.net. All the Basil Rathbone information, quotes, anecdotes, a whole lot more. All right, well, we've dragged this on a little longer than usual, but we're going to get into today's show. Before we do, I want to encourage you to check out Netflix. Where else are you going to get so much of the filmography of Basil Rathbone and other great Hollywood movies of years gone by? Netflix gives you access to all of these rare DVDs, a total of 90,000, so you can pick the type of movies you like and you enjoy. Rather than going to a video store or having to watch what little video is available in a box. So check out Netflix. You can try it free for 2 weeks. Go to netflix.greatdetectives.net. Now we are going to go into an original Sherlock Holmes story. This one was brought to us in 1940, end of the 1939-40 radio season. It is called The Retired Colurman. This story comes from the casebook of Sherlock Holmes, so let's take a listen.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil Rathbone, Nigel Bruce. The makers of bromoquinine cold tablets bring you another adventure of Sherlock Holmes with Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes and Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson. Watch out for colds, ladies and gentlemen. They're very prevalent now, and a little cold may be the start of a serious illness. What you want to do at the first sign of a cold is take famous bromoquinine tablets. Bromoquinine tablets are made for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is the relief of cold. They act fast, give you speedy results, and that's what you want when you have a cold. Bromoquinine tablets are known the world over for their efficacy. Trust your reputation when buying a medicine. Do this when you feel a cold coming on, and you'll ask for bromoquinine cold tablets. And now, as we make our way through the night to Dr. Watson's hospitable door, we notice a feeling of spring in the air. The buds are swollen on the trees, still black and dripping from the rain. And there's a smell of warm, damp earth.
Delicious. Hey, Mr. Manning?
Well, hello, Dr. Watson. I didn't see you in the doctor.
Yes, I've been out checking up to see if my magnolias survived the winter.
Any casualties?
Oh, they all seem to be fairly bursting with buds. There's nothing as delicious as that first faint whiff of spring. All is treacherous. Come along to the house before we both catch our death of cold.
After you, sir.
Not at all, my boy. None of that age before beauty nonsense. I'm not as decrepit as all that.
Oh, what's this? The front hall littered with trunks and suitcases?
Oh, yes. I'm afraid my annual wanderlust has broken out rather early this spring. I'm off on a little jaunt first thing tomorrow morning, but come along into the study.
Does that mean that this is the last of our storytelling evening?
For this winter, yes, I'm afraid it does. Well, I trust I'm not too forward if I hope to be invited back again in the fall.
Oh, of course not. You know we'll be waiting for your return.
Oh, thanks very much. It's very, very decent of you. To put up with the meanderings of an old fellow like yourself. I appreciate it, you know. But sit down, Mr. Manning. Sit down there, over there, in the usual chair. Let's get on with our story before I get all glittery and sentimental.
You're going to tell us about Professor Moriarty tonight, aren't you?
Well, I had intended to, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to tell you the adventure of retired Colurman instead.
Retired Colurman? Isn't that a military term?
No, it isn't. Mr. Josiah P. Amberley had been the junior member of Brickfall and Amberley, manufacturers of artistic paint boxes. He made quite a tidy little fortune. Retired from business at the age of 61, bought a house at Lewisham, and then settled down. The next year, 1897, I think it was, the old fool married.
Married?
Yes, married. The woman 30 years his junior.
Okay. That's always a bit risky.
Risky? Within 2 years, he was as miserable a creature as crawls beneath the sun. Oh, dear me, I'm jumping ahead in the story again. As I was saying, it was the 23rd of April, 1899, and a rainy and disagreeable April it had been. Holmes was in a melancholy and philosophic mood that morning as he stood by the window, watching the raindrops chasing one another down the pane. Rain had always depressed him when he was not working on a case. When he was working on a case, I don't believe he realized that there was such a thing as weather.
Look at that beastly rain. Hasn't stopped for 3 days. Might as well be another flood. Well, heaven only knows what transgressions could have brought it on. That's been a really first-class crime for months.
Oh, cheer up, Holmes, cheer up. It's probably good for the crops or something.
The shortage in crime?
No. The rain, of course. Probably makes the little buds sprout and the little shoots shoot.
Oh, don't be so blasted optimistic. More likely rotting all the seed that's already been planted. Rain, where the deuce does it all come from? This confounded English climate? Why any man with half a brain stays on this rain-soaked, mist-bound island is beyond me.
I doubt if the men have anything to do with it. It's the ladies, God bless them. This climate gives them perfect complexions, and with so many lovely creatures about, what Englishman would think of quitting the country? So much beauty, such exquisite...
Oh, rubbish, Watson, rubbish. The spring has given you a temporary softening of the brain. I regret to say it seems to have that effect on most impressionable males.
Impressionable nonsense. When a woman's concerned in one of your cases, you never even notice whether she's 16 or 60. And then you don't care whether she's got a well-turned ankle or whether she's flat-footed.
Oh, why should I?
Holmes, there are times when I think you're a cold-blooded fish.
Possibly, Watson, possibly. Why do you suppose the fool doesn't show up?
What fool?
Josiah P. Amberley.
Oh, is he one of your clients?
Oh, I suppose I may call him so. He's been sent to me by Scotland Yard.
Oh, by Scotland Yard.
Quite, by Lestrade, to be exact. You must consider the case fairly hopeless if Lestrade hands the matter over to me of his own accord.
Look, Holmes, there's a cab drawing up in front of our front door. He must be your client, Mr. Amberley.
Yeah. Strange-looking individual, eh, Watson?
He's quite an old fellow. Looks literally bowed down with care.
Ah, but no weakling. Look at those shoulders and that chest. The framework of a giant. He's arguing with the cab driver about the fare. Huh. Watches the pennies, eh?
I must say I don't like his face. So fierce and eager, and the way those snaky locks of grizzled hair stick out from under his hat.
I wonder what he's worrying. What's worrying, Mr. Amberley? Willing to bet it has something to do with money. I imagine nothing else could upset him to any great extent.
Nonsense, Holmes. You always look on the base side of human nature.
Here he is now. Come in, come in.
Which of you is Sherlock Holmes?
I am. This is my friend, Dr. Watson.
Oh, I'm a broken man. He's robbed me, the swine.
taken everything I had in the world. I thought he was my friend, and he took everything. Right from under my nose, in my own house. Robbed me, he did.
Yes, I felt sure it was a question of money.
Money? Who said money? He stole my wife, the light of my life, the apple of my eye. It's true she was very expensive, but after all, she was my wife, and he stole her.
And now, Mr. Amberley...
My beautiful blonde wife, hair like gold, and my securities. The money I saved up through years of hard work. Gone, all gone.
Yes, thank you. First, tell us about your wife. Now, how long have you been married?
2 years. 2 years, and she's tired of me already. 2 little years.
Easy, my good man, easy. More facts and fewer recriminations if we're to get to the bottom of this case.
Well, 3 years ago I retired. Bought a house. Big house at Lewisham. Cost me plenty of money, that house did. Well, sir, I'd never lived alone in a big house before, and got sort of lonely. House began to need looking after, so I thought I'd start looking around for a wife. Nice, healthy, young wife to look after me. Then I met Ella. Handsome girl she was, too. A good cook. Hair like gold. Could bake a beef and kidney pie that would melt in your mouth. So I thought I might as well get married.
Very practical, I'm sure.
Yes, that's what I figured at the time. But Lord, Mr. Holmes, the money a woman runs into. They made my heart bleed the way the money went.
I should have thought you'd have been glad when the other fellow took her off your hands. But who was this...
This wolf in sheep's clothing?
Yes.
His name was Dr. Ray Ernest, a young fellow. He used to come over nights and play chess with me.
I see. He stole your wife?
Yes, and my securities.
Yes, but surely the securities are registered. You can hardly hope to convert them.
Maybe not, but I must have them back. And you've got to find those securities for me, Mr. Holmes. You've got to find them.
And your wife, of course?
Well, of course, wherever she is, they are.
Quite. On the other hand, Mr. Amberley, I confess I don't see that I can be of much service. It's a routine matter, and I'm sure that Scotland Yard would be only too glad...
They haven't found not a single security.
Very well. And we'll do our best. Dr. Watson will take a run down to your house at Lewisham to look over the ground.
Oh, really? Yes. I hardly expected you to come yourself. After my heavy financial loss, nobody cares if an old man's heart is broken.
Stop that. I'm not coming myself because I'm preoccupied with the case of the 2 Coptic patriarchs. This particular case doesn't seem to be very complicated. I'm sure, Mr. Amberley, that Dr. Watson can handle it as well as I could myself.
Well, if that's the best that you can offer, I suppose I must be satisfied. Pampered, that's what she was. And that young man, that dirty pickpocket, I treated him like my own son. He had the run of the house. And now look how they treated me. Me, you never harmed a soul.
Quite. And now, good day, Mr. Amberley.
Yes. Well, good day, Mr. Holmes. And I shall expect Dr. Watson this afternoon. You have my address, I believe. Oh, the ingratitude, the rank ingratitude of it all.
I must say, Holmes, I like the way you shoved all this off onto my shoulders. Coptic patriarchs, indeed. You just don't want to go.
Right, Watson, right the very first time. You've been begging for a case all to yourself for months. Well, here it is.
Yes, and a nice case you've given me, I must say. That old skinflint.
Oh, my daughter, oh, my ducats, eh? With the emphasis on the ducats, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, confound that passage. There. Ah, that's better. That's dash good. Hello. Steps on the stairs. Watson, if I'm not mistaken, and in a triumphant mood.
Hello, Holmes. Well, I'm back.
Hail the conquering hero. A successful afternoon, I take it, with the light of victory in your eye.
Well, I did manage to dig up a cure.
Good. How about Mr. Amberley's place of residence? What's it like?
Well, he calls it the Haven.
Oh, charming.
Yes, isn't it? I think the place would interest you, Holmes. You know that particular quarter, the monotonous brick streets, the weary suburban highways. Well, right in the middle of them lies this beautiful old home, surrounded by a high sun-baked wall, mottled with lichens and topped with moss. The sort of wall...
You may omit the purple, Watson. I note that it was a high brick wall.
What? I should have guessed it was the Haven, even if I hadn't lost a lounger who was smoking outside in the street.
A lounger?
Yes, a tall, dark, heavily moustached man with a curious look in his eye.
With great tinted glasses and a Masonic typing?
Good heavens. How'd you know?
Oh, a fool. A child of 10 could have seen through that.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, I don't see.
Never mind. Continue with your story, Watson.
Well, I'd hardly entered the gateway before I saw Mr. Amberley coming down the drive to meet me. He began at once.
pouring out his grievances. We walked back to the house together.
And,
Well, once inside the wall, I must say, I've never seen a place worse kept. Garden running to weeds and in a dreadful neglect. The house, too, was slatternly to the last degree. It just goes to show what happens to a place when there's no womanly hand about to keep it in order.
Yes, but Mrs. Amberley's only been missing a few days. Hardly time for so much disintegration to take place. Must have set in before she left.
Possibly. At any rate, Mr. Amberley seemed to be ashamed of it. He's doing his best to remedy it, though I must admit that his efforts looked a trifle ineffectual.
What's to become of me? What's to become of me? My wife gone, most of my fortune stolen. Oh, come in, Dr. Watson, come in. Here you see what remains of what used to be called my home. An Englishman's home is his castle, so they say. But home is where the heart is. And my heart... Look out, Dr. Watson, look out. That woodwork's just been...
Oh, look at that. My best pair of trousers.
Too bad. Careful, you almost stepped in that pot of paint.
Oh, that's it all, This is absolutely the limit.
Sorry, I shouldn't have left that pot of paint in the middle of the passage, I suppose. That when one's alone in the house, one forgets.
Alone? So you've been doing this painting yourself?
It must strike you a strange occupation under the circumstances. One must do something to ease an aching heart. Step in here, Dr. Watson. This is my study, my sanctum sanctorum.
Oh, sanctum sanctorum. I see you've just finished painting woodwork in this room, too. The smell of paint.
Yes, it's not dry yet. That's why I have a fire in here.
Now, let me see. Where did you keep your security?
In the safe in that wall. This room is really a strong room, like a bank, with an iron shutter on the window and an iron door, burglar-proof. Ah, that's the irony of it. No thief from without could have taken my money, but my wife, my own wife. There's a picture, Dr. Watson, on the mantel, taken in a wedding dress.
Nice looking well, Emily. It doesn't look the sort...
the viper, the ingrate.
Oh, really?
Why, that very night, I bought 2 upper circle seats at the Haymarket Theatre. What did you give her a treat, I did?
Oh, didn't she go?
No. Last moment said she felt sick. Said she had a headache, she did. I believed her, went alone. When I came back, she was gone. The safe was right...
Just a minute. What night was that, Mr. Emily?
Last Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, was it?
Yes, and unused it. Money wasted. She was always wasting money.
May I have that ticket, Mr. Emily? Hold on. You would have thrown it in the fire. No, why?
I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of everything that reminds me of her. Here, give me that picture.
Well, I see.
There, in the fire she goes, closer. May her soul burn in torment. That picture's burning now.
Unpleasant fellow, eh, Watson? This case begins to look more somber than I suspected. If you could only have brought me that ticket, Watson.
Oh, I did my best, Holmes. I may not have the ticket itself, but I did notice the number of the seat.
Oh, bravo, Watson. How did you happen to remember it?
Well, as a matter of fact, it was my place in form at school, 31. See from the bottom. And so it stuck in my head.
Splendid, old fellow. Then Amberley's seat must have been 30 or 32. Dear me now, who can that be?
Well, whoever it is, he's fast impatient.
Oh, yes. Here he comes up the stairs, fairly running. Come in. Well, bless my soul if it isn't our old friend, our good friend, Mr. Amberley. What's up?
A telegram, Mr. Holmes. I can't make anything of it. Here, see for yourself.
Uh-huh. Come at once without fail.
Yes.
Can give you information as to your recent lost find, Hellman,
Yes,
the vicarage. Dispatched at 2:10 from Little Purlington. Little Purlington in Essex, I believe, not far from Frinton. You will start at once, of course. Watson, look up the train.
It's probably a hoax. What could anyone in Little Purlington
But it's
know
from
about?
a very responsible person. Where's my crockpot? Yes, here it is. We'll look up this minister of the gospel. Hellman. Here it is. Yes, J.C. Hellman, M.A., living of Mossmore, Little Purlington.
Yes, but I still don't...
Surely, Mr. Amberley, you want to find your wife and your lost security.
Of course, but it's a waste of time and money.
Here we are. Here's the train from Liverpool Street at 5:20.
Yes, just have time. Mr. Amberley, you go downstairs and hail a cab. I'll help Dr. Watson throw a few things in the bag.
You think I need Dr. Watson? Perhaps I'd better go alone.
Oh, no. It may be a trap for all we know.
I don't think I shall go.
Mr. Amberley, it would make the worst possible impression on both police and on myself if you refused to follow up so obvious a clue. We should feel that you are not in earnest about this investigation.
Very well, I'll go.
Perhaps you'd better go with him, Holmes.
What? Take your case, Watson. After the brilliant way in which you've handled it? No. Go along, Mr. Amberley, or you'll miss your train.
Very well, but the expense is...
Here you are, Watson. Here's your bag.
It's packed.
Yes, you never know when you may be called off on a case like this. I packed it for you.
Holmes, I do think...
Quite. Now, whatever you do, see that he really does go to Little Purlington.
Yes, I don't think that he's
Again, quite. Should you break away and try to return, get to the nearest telegraph station and send me the single word bolted. I will arrange to have it reach me wherever I am.
What? You have something to look into at this end, then?
I have, Watson. This case is beginning to take on a rather curious and sinister aspect. Above all, old man, take good care of yourself. And Mr. Amberley.
Before we find the outcome of Watson's curious mission, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few words to say. Here's what you want to do when you feel a cold coming on. Here's what you want to do at the very first sign of a cold. Take famous bromoquinine cold tablets. Bromoquinine tablets don't fool. No, sir, they get right after a cold symptom. They get right after a cold's misery. They relieve the headache and other pains that go with a cold. They relieve that stuffiness and feeling of depression that accompanies a cold. They help reduce the fever that goes with a cold. Bromoquinine tablets are fast and decisive in their action. First, because they're made especially for the relief of the common cold. And secondly, because they act internally. You can take lots of things for the relief of a cold, but nothing more reputable and reliable than famous bromoquinine tablets. Get them at any drugstore at the first symptom of a cold. Ask for bromo, B-R-O-M-O, quinine, Q-U-I-N-I-N-E, bromoquinine cold tablets.
Confound this rain. Everything's as dark as a black hole of Calcutta. The haven. Chilly little haven this is. I can find a window unlatched. Not much chance on the first floor. The old boy's 2 quarters. Second story window, perhaps. Now, if I can manage to scale this porch pillar. This confounded rain. Just slippery as a greased pole. Come on. Hey, there we are. Yeah. Here's the window that's unlatched. Easy. And now. 1 foot over the sill. Now
up with your end. Up with them, I tell you. Thought I wouldn't see you prowling around down below, eh? Well, I've caught you red-handed.
Nice wild goose chase that turned out to be. That friend of poor Sherlock Holmes is a fool.
I'm sure, Mr. Amberley, if you'll call and see him, he can explain.
Explain nothing. That vicar had never seen that telegram before. The way he treated us. You might have thought we were suspicious characters. And missing the last train and having to sit up all night in a confounded station with the rain dripping through the roof.
Well, we could have gone to an hotel.
Gone to an hotel? That costs money. Gone to an hotel, indeed.
Here's your house, Mr. Amberley. I think I'll go along home now and get some breakfast.
You will not. I'm going to come into the house and see if everything's on. Why, look up there. The window over the porch. It's open.
Perhaps you left it like that yourself.
Rubbish. I tell you, I don't like the looks of this. Where's my key? Here it is. We'll soon find out.
I say, it's gloomy, isn't it?
Look. Someone's been here right enough. Footprints on the fresh paint. I'll find them if I have to tear the place apart.
Need for that, Mr. Amberley. We're here waiting for you in the study.
Holmes! Good heavens, what a start you get.
How did you get in here?
I've been through through an upstairs window.
That's burglary, young man.
Yes. Burglary has always been an alternate profession, and I cared to adopt it. I'll admit I was glad I hadn't when I walked into Inspector Lestrade's gun last night. He thought I was a burglar, too. But come, we're keeping him waiting. He's in the library. Here they are, Lestrade. I told you we could expect them back before 10.
No, but look here, that's not Lestrade. That's the man I saw loitering in front of the gate yesterday afternoon. The fellow with the black moustache and the glasses.
That's right, Dr. Watson.
Yes. Lestrade fondly imagines that's the disguise.
Oh, now look here, no.
It's obvious to anyone who takes the
now
trouble.
Look here, I've had enough of this. I won't have 2 busybodies prowling around my house in the middle of the night. And what's more, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I suspect you sent that telegram yourself.
Very clever of you, Mr. Amberley, very clever. You look a trifle pale. I thought a night in the country might do you
no,
good.
enough of that. What kind of a fool do you take me for? I'll have you put behind the bars, all of you.
Oh, surely not Inspector Lestrade. Why, he's from Scotland Yard.
I don't care if it's in the house alone.
Yeah, none of that.
You're all disgraced, publicly disgraced. Breaking into my house in the middle of the night. Oh, I'll get you for that. What were you doing in here last night? Answer me that.
Looking for the bodies.
What?
Looking for the bodies of your wife and Dr. Ernest. What have you done with them?
How dare
You murdered them in this room. We have ample proof.
Why,
Stop him, Watson. Stop him. He's got a capsule in his hand. It's poison. He's going to swallow it.
No.
Come on, spit it out.
Spit it out.
Spit it out, or I'll kill you. Short cut, Mr. Amberley, if you please. Everything decently and in its proper place. Pick him away, Lestrade.
Right, come along now. No more monkey business. No one forgetting that. All right.
Phew. What a scene. So that old brute Amberley's a murderer, eh? How did you find it out?
Well, the first clue was the theater ticket, which you didn't use. We found that out.
Oh, that destroyed his alibi.
Yes, the theater people assured us that there had been 2 empty seats, not just one. The second clue was the smell of fresh paint. What was he trying to hide by that?
What?
Gas. He asphyxiated his wife and Dr. Ernst in this room.
Good heavens.
His strong room, which was as near airtight as anything could humanly possibly be.
But how?
Well, that's what I wanted to find out. That's what I was looking for when I broke into the house last night.
And what did you find?
Look here. Notice the gas pipe along the skirting here? It rises in the wall, in the angle there, and ends in that plaster rose in the center of the ceiling where it's concealed by that ornamentation. Ends wide open.
How horrible.
Yes, and look here. Look, near the floor. What do you make out?
2 words written on the wall. We were. Then a scroll. We were. What does that mean?
The poor devil was trying to write, "We were murdered." I can see the whole ghastly scene. It was last Thursday night. Amberley had lured his wife and Dr. Ernest into this room.
Oh, listen to that wind. I wish it would stop.
It's not so bad in this room. Let's have a little game in here, eh, Dr. Ernest? Just you sit here, dear. Entertain the doctor while I go and look for the chessmen. Excuse me a minute, Dr. Ernest.
Certainly.
And if you don't mind, I'll close the door. There's such a draft. It'll be much cozier in here with the door closed. Much cozier.
If that wind only wouldn't howl. I feel so depressed. Is there something terrible we're going to happen?
Oh, nonsense, my dear Mrs. Amberley. This house is getting on your nerves. Is it any wonder?
He gets worse and worse. Oh, Dr. Ernest, I'm so frightened.
You must go away.
What?
Now, don't be alarmed, Mrs. Amberley. I've had your husband under observation for some time. I'm afraid he isn't quite normal. It isn't safe for you to stay here any longer.
But, Dr. Ernest, don't you understand? I can't leave my husband. Heaven knows what would happen if I left him alone.
We could get a nurse to take care of him. You can't stay here with him. What was that?
Josiah, he heard us. He was outside the door listening. Oh, Dr. Ernest, this is terrible. What can we do?
Listen. You hear that?
It's the gas. Someone turned on the gas. I can smell it.
Hurry, we've got to get out of here.
What? Oh, the door's locked. He's locked the door. Amberley! I say, Amberley, open the door!
Quick, the window. No, that's locked, too. The iron shutters.
Amberley! Amberley, let us out!
You realize what this means? He's going to kill us. He must have gone mad, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's what I was afraid of. He's a maniac. A homicidal maniac. Oh, this is horrible. We're trapped. What a fool I was.
What can we do? I feel so faint. I can hardly breathe.
Here. Lie down on the floor. Yes, better down here.
It's no use. I can't stay awake. I don't mind anymore. I'm quite all right. Really.
Mrs. Amberley. Mrs. Amberley. Don't give up. I feel pain, too. I must warn people. It's dangerous. I can't think. God, I can't breathe. I can't think.
tragic story, Dr. Watson. Was Mr. Amberley insane?
They decided he was. He ended his days in an asylum.
Did they ever find the bodies?
Yes, at the bottom of an old well, the opening of which had been cleverly concealed by a dog kennel.
I see.
And now I'm afraid it's time to say goodbye.
Well, not goodbye, Dr. Watson. Au revoir.
Oh, just as you say, Mr. Manning. Anyway, in conclusion, I want to thank you and our radio audiences who so patiently listened to the reminiscences of a sentimental old fellow. And I want to wish you all, old and young, an extremely happy summer.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, Basil Rathbone would like to say a few words to you. But first, may I give you a word of advice? Remember the danger of the so-called common cold. Remember the sickness it can cause and the bills it can cost. Act promptly, decisively, at the first sign of a cold. Take famous bromoquinine tablets. Bromoquinine tablets have a reputation. Their fame extends to all quarters of the globe. Their merit is an assured fact. Reliability is the one thing you want in any medicine, especially the medicine for the relief of cold. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate when you feel a cold coming on. Go right to your druggist and get a box of bromoquinine tablets. The small cost may save you a lot in grief and expense. Ask clearly for bromoquinine cold tablets. And now, here's Basil Rathbone.
Ladies and gentlemen, to me, Sherlock Holmes has always been one of the greatest characters ever created. Tonight, as our present series ends, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the makers of bromoquinine, for giving me the opportunity of playing Holmes on the air, especially with such an inspired Dr. Watson as Mr. Bruce.
Oh, Basil, that's very...
Please.
Oh, sorry, what?
Speaking for myself and Mr. Bruce, may I express our gratitude to our radio audience for the many letters of interest and encouragement that we received. And finally, a word of appreciation to all the performers and others concerned with this program who have helped so immeasurably in making the Baker Street days live again. And now, until fall, it's time for me too to say au revoir and good luck.
You have been listening to a Sherlock Holmes adventure adapted by Edith Miser from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Retired Colurman, with Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes and Nigel Bruce and Dr. Watson. The Sherlock Holmes series was produced by Tom McKnight. This program was presented from Hollywood by the makers of bromoquinine cold tablets, quick relief for colds. This is Knox Manning speaking.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Welcome back. Well, a little bit more of a positive view of Holmes from Basil Rathbone, which I think comes from the fact that at this point, Rathbone had done 2 movies and 1 season of radio. By the time he got frustrated with the Holmes character, he'd been forever linked to that character after 14 movies and 200 radio episodes. The moral of the story is if you're wanting to avoid being typecast, you want to quit the franchise sometime before the 14th movie. I don't know whether it's the 12th movie or the 8th movie, but whichever the case. And I think part of what he may have continued to do Holmes longer than he wanted to because he recognized what the presence of Holmes was doing for the war effort. So he may have just stuck it out, but by the time he actually left in 1946, war was over, he'd done his bit for Holmes and King and Country and was ready to move on. The one thing that's somewhat striking about this, and it wasn't just Rathbone, but those that get most associated with Holmes tended to be those who would grow not to like the character. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It's somewhat ironic that both Doyle and Rathbone had the same feelings, even though they were, those are probably 2 of the people you associate the most. And I think this points to perhaps the strength of Holmes as a character, where if the relationship is too strong, it really can almost to almost be suffocating because the character is so strong, so dominating, and people just continue to demand more of it, even if you want to be known for something else. All right. Well, I think this was a nice contrast. I hope you have a blessed and happy New Year. We'll be back tomorrow with yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Please cast your vote for our show over at Podcast Alley. Go to podcastalley.greatdetectives.net and fill out your survey for us, survey.greatdetectives.net. Much appreciated to know who's listening. But from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham. Happy New Year!